Well, looking for an interesting game. We know the Dutch love to play good football, and I'm sure they'll take the game to England, but they'll be very dangerous on the counter-attack. Both teams got a lot of pace.
Yeah, I'm looking at that midfield area. It's a settled Dutch three: De Jong, Wijnaldum and De Roon, and with Rice, Delph and Barkley, not first choice of their clubs this season. That'll be a key area.
And before this semi-final gets underway, we're going to have a moment to pay tribute to Lennart Johansson, the former UEFA president, who died this week.
OK, we've lost the line at the moment during the minute silence for Lennart Johansson, the former chief of UEFA. So both sides at the moment standing round the centre circle. And the minute silence has just come to an end. The camera's focusing on Ronald Koeman applauding as we wait to get the line back. The West Indies, by the way, 89 for 7. Needed 319 to win the women's first one-day international against England. That's at Grace Road at the moment, Leicestershire, and you will be able to listen to that on 5 Live Sports Extra and the BBC Sport website. Marcus Rashford is in the centre circle at the moment, standing over the ball and waiting to kick off in the second Nations League semi-final of the week. The winners, obviously, tonight will take on Portugal in the final. John Murray.
Thanks, Mark. The match begins here in Guimarães. The Netherlands against England for a place in the final in Porto on Sunday night against the hosts, Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo. The Dutch in the orange shirts, the white shorts and the orange socks are playing from left to right. And England, white shirts, blue shorts and white socks. The Dutch with Van Dijk hitting a long pass downfield, but that's tidied up by Harry Maguire, who plays it back to Pickford, who actually just, I think, slipped there. The rain has just eased, but it's a very greasy surface, and he sliced it out of play for a throw into the Dutch down the right-hand side. That'll be taken by Dumfries, the right back. Then De Roon with a touch towards the edge of the penalty area. Wijnaldum is there. He's being forced away by Ross Barkley. That's Liverpool against former Everton. Wijnaldum wins the ball. Now it's with Dumfries, who concedes a throw-in on the right-hand side. So Netherlands 0, England 0 in the second of these Nations League semi-finals. On a grey night, I suspect there will be more rain before too long here in Guimarães, but an atmospheric backdrop to this game. As Chilwell takes the throw for England towards the halfway line, looking for Rashford, and then Dumfries just whacks it down. He's looking for a deflection, but it was straight out of play for a throw into England. Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton are here with us inside the stadium tonight for the commentary. Chris Waddle.
Holland probably started a little bit better, moving the ball, but it's really fast tempo, which we expected. Both teams are trying to get a foothold here and get a decent possession.
The Dutch playing it up towards Memphis Depay through the middle. Important touch from Delph, and then his Manchester City teammate John Stones just plays it back to Pickford, who under pressure is able to take a touch and clear it from the 6-yard box. Barkley does well, deep inside his own territory. Here for the first time in the match, winning his 50th cap, is Raheem Sterling, the 60th man to play 50 times or more for England. We've got another of them sitting alongside us here, and Chris Waddle. Barkley now in the centre circle, plays it down the left. Sancho is there. Sancho into the penalty area now, cutting in from the left-hand side, crosses towards the back post, and an important touch from Daley Blind. Not much of a touch, but enough to send it behind for a corner and prevent it from reaching the arriving Kyle Walker.
Yeah, really good from Sancho, driving into the box, chops it back on his right foot, and Daley Blind panicked at the far post. Gets the slightest touch on it. And it goes wide for a corner to England.
Corner from the right for England. Brilliant support for the England team And the corner is drilled towards the edge of the penalty area, looking for Maguire, inevitably with an England corner. And he got there on the edge of the box, but lifted his shot high over the bar with his right foot.
Very dangerous set pieces, England. We saw that in the World Cup, didn't we? They scored lots of goals. Maguire, Stones, very good in the air. A little bit of movement. That's off the training ground, that one. Block a few people off. Maguire couldn't direct the shot onto the target.
Netherlands 0, England 0. And England back in possession again with Fabian Delph. Only 3 appearances for Manchester City since January. But they like him, the England management duo of Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland. And now here's Babel on the left-hand side, Ryan Babel, who back in the Dutch side, and he really has done well, 32 years of age under Ronald Koeman. Relegated with Fulham last season. There's a miscued pass from Van Dijk to his central defensive teammate Matthijs de Ligt. That's not bad, is it, that central defensive partnership, Chris?
Well, you're arguably the best 2 in the world at the minute, are you?
I don't think there'll be too many who disagree with that. De Ligt, at the age of just 19, the Ajax captain. The ball is back with Cillessen. Rashford closing him down, and Sillessen's pass forced the error. Rashford by closing down the goalkeeper. Blind couldn't keep it in on the far side, and it's a throw into England 10 yards inside the Dutch half, although actually Walker's going to take the throw all the way back into his own territory. One thing that's slightly distracting here is that there are birds, tiny birds, swooping down the whole time from the skies. I don't know if they're swallows or swifts or whatever they are, but they're that sort of beast. Here's Stones, halfway inside his own half. Stones walking the ball.
It's a pterodactyl here.
That's definitely not a pterodactyl. Here's Stones, halfway inside his own territory. Plays the ball across towards Maguire. Maguire now to Chilwell on the left-hand side. Danny Rose started last time out for England at left-back instead of Chilwell. But Chilwell has started 5 of the last 6, now 6 of the last 7. And then the referee, who's the Frenchman, Clément Turpin, has spotted an infringement on the halfway line, and it's a free kick to England.
And there's a handball from Dumfries, the right back. Kenny Tete, maybe first choice for the Dutch. But Dumfries, he's an athletic player, plays his football at PSV.
Isn't he just? Strong-looking young man, Denzel Dumfries. England with the ball inside their own half. Here's Maguire, who rolls the pass out to Chilwell on the halfway line. Chilwell forced back into his own half by Bergwijn, and then all the way back towards Maguire again, who puts his foot on the ball and passes it again to the left-hand side to Barkley. And Barkley is going for a crossfield pass. Walker is going to do well here to chest it down under pressure. And in fact, Babel has won it back, gives it to the edge of the area to Memphis Depay, shoots, but it was blocked by the legs of Stones, who plays it back to Pickford, who clears first time left-footed on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Barkley spotted Walker, but it was a difficult ball to control. Maybe he should have headed it on. Did he get his shout? Probably not. Trying to bring it down. Babel alert. And Memphis Depay there, nice bit of skill to get onto his left foot, but it's a good block by Stones.
First alarm for England, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, and all the play for England down the left-hand side, and you look at that matchup, that battle, Daley Blind, Raheem Sterling starting on the right for England. I just wonder, whether Blind can really cope with Sterling, who's been in top form this season.
He's playing very close to him though, isn't he? If you watch where Sterling goes normally, he's within a yard, 2 yards of him.
Chris Waddle, who won 62 caps for England. Chris Sutton won the league in England and Scotland, with us here on BBC 5 Live tonight. As the sun comes out, there must be a rainbow somewhere near here. The ball on the halfway line, and it is Frankie de Jong who turns and swings a pass along the halfway line to Matthijs de Ligt, and now to Van Dijk. Van Dijk and Wijnaldum both in the starting lineup. None of the England players who are involved in the Champions League final are in the starting lineup for England. And actually, from the team that played in the semi-final in Moscow a year ago, Maguire loses possession. The Dutch have got it back. Here's Bergwijn, edge of the area, pulls it back on his left foot and shoots, but straight at Pickford, who was able to drop down and take the ball just next to his left knee, Chris Sutton.
That's really good skill. First sight of Bergwijn, chops in right-footed onto his left foot. I think he'll be disappointed with the finish from 18 yards, straight at Jordan Pickford.
But Harry Maguire losing the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, but England survived the scare, and it is still Netherlands 0, England 0. Delph does well in centre field, a couple of challenges in on him, and he actually was caught by de Roon, and it's a free kick just next to the centre spot itself. 0-0 here. Still the sun shines, but we have blue sky, we have dirty grey clouds, and it is dry for the moment.
Got to say, John, the tempo of the game is very hard. Nobody can really get time on the ball. Look, the tempo is really high. Can't keep us up for 90 minutes.
Short pass for from Chilwell for Sancho, so the Dutch have got it back with Bergwijn. Here's Wijnaldum pushing well forward, actually, the Dutch number 8, and Frankie de Jong does well to hold off Rashford. Back to Wijnaldum in the centre circle. Wijnaldum then leaves it for Virgil van Dijk, who's been booed by the England fans. Van Dijk, I think that is quite simply a matter of they know how good he is. The ball is won back by Kyle Walker on the halfway line. Walker takes it on, but overhits the pass through to the run of Rashford, and Cillessen was able to come up and pick it up.
Yeah, Van Dijk screaming at the referee. He wanted a handball, but it's a really poor pass from Kyle Walker. Rashford had made a decent run, overweighted, allowed Cillessen to gather.
That was like one of those passes from the Champions League final on Saturday night.
I agree with that, John. He's a little bit more composure, relaxed a little bit more. I thought he was going to take a shot himself. He got 25 yards.
Never scored for England, 47 appearances, Kyle Walker. But that's another factor tonight, whether we will see that rustiness since the end of the season for many of these players. Back it goes into the Dutch half, and Van Dijk has got the ball in his feet. Gareth Southgate very clearly deciding tonight that this was not the time to involve the players who started in Madrid, or were indeed involved in Madrid. Ronald Koeman deciding otherwise. He said last night, Ronald Koeman, as the ball is drilled forward by De Ligt, but that might well have too much on it. It's being chased all the way towards the corner flag, but I don't think Dubai can keep it in. No, he can't. And it's a goal kick to England. Ronald Koeman said last night, I'm looking to pick my best team, and Van Dijk and Wijnaldum are in my best team.
Yeah, rightly so. But you've got to say, so far in the game, one great chance. England obviously wasted a decent opportunity, but one chance for Holland, which they'll be disappointed with. But overall, I just think Holland's trading it. They're just a little bit brighter, picking the second ball up more.
10 minutes played, and it is Netherlands 0, England 0. Gareth Southgate has spotted something. He's wearing a navy blue long-sleeve jumper tonight, as well as his England tie. Gareth Southgate. Chilwell to Sancho. Sancho starting on the left-hand side. Sancho, Borussia Dortmund, just rolls the pass down for Barkley to race onto near the dead ball line. The Ligt put in the challenge, and Van Dijk is able to clear it away, and then Maguire goes for the same ball with Rice, and now it's been run away downfield by Wijnaldum, who plays it into Memphis Depay inside the penalty area, who then cut back onto his right foot, took a heavy touch, and England have got it back.
Oh, they get so lucky, England do. It was poor, two players going for the same ball, but a 2v1 for the Dutch, and crucial time. Memphis Depay was fed the ball from Wijnaldum, left-hand side of the box. He delayed his shot too long, and the chance was gone.
On the halfway line, that was a little bit like Alan Hansen and Willie Miller for Scotland all those years ago.
And Rice, I think the guy behind puts a shout on it, and the other one gets out of the way. There was no communication, and that could have proved costly. But as Chris just said, Depay hesitated too much, delayed it. Chance gone at this level.
Miller Hansen is one for listeners who remember Escape to Victory. Here's Chilwell. Chilwell halfway inside his own half. Turns and gives it back to Barkley on the left-hand side. Barkley then drives it forward into the centre circle to Sterling. Van Dijk was as tight as can be on Sterling, and actually has fouled him, says referee Turpin.
I thought he was unlucky there. I do. He read the ball into Sterling. Sterling took a decent touch, but that big long limb got around him.
Here's Walker on the right-hand side for England, approaching the penalty area, then checks his run. Puts his foot on the ball, gives it to the right-hand side. Sterling's over there. Sterling now chips it across, took a deflection. Here's Rice, Declan Rice, winning only his third cap for England, only became available in March. Sancho on the left-hand side, has two men on him, so we'll give it all the way back to Declan Rice. And Rice, tall and upright. Delph back into his own half, but Rice actually just has to make ground to that ball, but under no pressure. He had a look over his shoulder both ways just to check, and England have got possession back inside their own half. Ross Barkley will give it to Declan Rice, who's actually the the outfield player who is furthest back at the moment, Rice. Drop in between the two central defenders. Chilwell, Sancho with a touch. Here's Barkley now. Barkley scored 2 goals against Montenegro in the previous match, but his pass is cut out by Dumfries, who goes for a long diagonal ball downfield. Rice goes in for it. It is with Memphis Depay, who turns and hits an awful pass.
You know, that is Memphis Depay, that. He does something really good, and then all of a sudden he wants, look at me, why does he just lay it back? As a striker, it frustrates midfield players when a striker can just lay the ball back. He can hit that ball a lot more easier than what he's going to do. Now what a waste opportunity.
That was a contender for worst pass of the season, a late contender for worst pass of the season. He turned on the halfway line and absolutely smashed it out of play 10 yards behind Daley Blind.
That's the sort of thing you'd see in the pub league Sunday morning.
Ball is played forward from Chilwell, but that's overhit as well. So we are seeing the kind of errors that we saw.
I've got to say, it's a very high tempo game, this, let's be honest. I know they're not keeping up. I'm probably looking at 20-25 minutes before find a little bit of time on the ball, but both teams are going for it.
5 Live, BBC Radio 5 Live, live in Guimarães, and we're watching the Dutch playing the ball back to Sillessen, the goalkeeper, who strikes it long downfield over Barbel's head. Kyle Walker allows it to run away down into the right back area under no pressure. Depay hasn't followed him there, and he knocks it back across to Pickford. I think we're going to get more rain imminently. The place is just darkened. England flags absolutely everywhere. The cross of St George with, I suspect that all of these flags inside this ground, there are probably hundreds of them. As Pickford plays it to Stones, still in the penalty area, then back to Pickford, who then strikes the ball right to the feet of Daley Blind, 10 yards inside the England half. Blind to Wijnaldum, and Wijnaldum also doesn't have an England player within 10 yards of him, so is able to turn and then hit a ball out towards Dumfries on the right-hand side, who's challenged by Chilwell, and the ball rolls out of play with 15 minutes on the clock for a throw-in to the Dutch. Dumfries will take the throw. Frankie de Jong lifts it back to the absolutely massive, blonde-haired Matthijs de Ligt on the halfway line. Now Van Dijk to Daley Blind, playing at left back. Last time we saw him, he was playing alongside de Ligt in central defence for Ajax on that extraordinary night, the second extraordinary night of 2 in the Champions League semi-finals. Wijnaldum, who's very involved in the early stages of this game, centrally and well forward for the Dutch, but Delph is quickly on him and forces him to go back to Van Dijk, who hits a high pass out towards the right-hand side, little header down by Dumfries. That's for Bergwijn to chase, but Maguire got there and Chilwell just touches it out
a little
of
bit
play.
of quality in the final third, and I think some of the plays have been nice. It's high tempo, middle of the park. Van Dijk's hit some lovely diagonal balls and some nice touches, but in the final third we've not saw enough quality. I've got to say, I've not saw Marcus Rashford touch the ball yet.
Netherlands 0, England 0, and the Dutch roll it out towards the left-hand side. Barbel with his red hair, which I'm willing to stick my neck out and say does not go with his orange shirt. Now the left-hand side, Blind with a cross, but Maguire was underneath it, heads it high back out towards the far side where it bounces out of play and hops over the hoardings for a throw-in.
I don't think they're too unhappy about that. England and the Dutch get wide. They don't really have that big physical type of striker in there, that height when the crosses go in. They should be able to deal with that.
4 or 5 of those swooping birds. I don't know how they missed Ronald Koeman on the touchline. Now the ball to the left-hand side is played forward for Blind on the run, swings it across, but Pickford's able to fall forward and catch it on the edge of the 6-yard box.
That's a very good ball. If you get across that near post, you just need any touch and it's in, but nobody had a gamble at it. Pickford just falls on it.
Netherlands 0, England 0. Ronald Koeman, former manager of Southampton and Everton, of course, who has a history with England. Scored the Champions League winning goal at Wembley for Barcelona back in 1992, and the referee has just had his attention attracted by the fact that there was something on the field on the far side. Not sure what it was. It's white and circular, and it's been thrown off the pitch.
Frisbee?
By Kyle Walker. Well, that could be. It's frisbee-sized, although it dropped very heavily, whatever it is. Maguire gets the ball back from Rice and then sets Chilwell away, and Chilwell takes on Dumfries, who came across and blocked him, And it is a free kick to England, just down in front of us on the England left.
Tell you what a wonderful first touch from Chilwell. He got away from Wijnaldum and then pushed it past Dumfries. Who's fortunate there not to get a yellow card.
I agree with you.
And when a bit late the game last night, wasn't it? They took them a long time before they get the cards out.
And when Dumfries runs into you, you'll know about it. But Chilwell's okay, he's back on his feet. And it is a free kick to England on the left-hand side. The England players are holding a line. The Dutch defence is holding a line on the edge of their own penalty area. So we have a line of England players there as well. Jadon Sancho furthest forward. It's going to be taken by either Chilwell. Chilwell comes up and does play it in, curling it towards the penalty spot. And the referee has spotted something. Dutch player went down. Van Dijk is suggesting there, actually, that he's taken a bank from an arm.
Yeah.
He stood up and did that elbowing motion. He's okay, he's back on his feet, he runs away, but he's made the point to the referee.
He won that before he actually was taken. He kept saying, it looks like he's just slipped to me on the replay, but he was talking to the referee long before the free kick came in.
I think it's a flailing arm of John Stones. No intent.
Netherlands 0, England 0. And Dumfries will take this throw. Back to Martin de Roon, who had a season at Middlesbrough, you might remember. Martin de Roon, but is now doing great things with Atalanta, who's just finished third in the Italian Serie A and are in the Champions League for the first time next season. De Roon back to Van Dijk. De Ligt gives it back to De Roon. De Roon looks to the left, that's where De Jong is, still inside the Dutch half. Still 0-0, almost 20 minutes played here under very much darkening skies in the city of Guimarães, the very pleasant city of Guimarães, around about 40 minutes drive north east of Porto. De Roon now through the middle towards Babel. Babel looks to the left hand side. Depay is there, Memphis Depay on his right foot, shoots for goal, but it is comfortably scooped up by Jordan Pickford at his near post.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Walker should be letting Depay on his inside, on his stronger foot. He doesn't really get the power or the accuracy, and it's comfortable for Pickford.
0-0. England supporters in great voice. Here's Sancho down the left-hand side. In comes the challenge from Dumfries, who deflects it out of play. And the referee, after a little bit of thought, gives the throw Holland's way.
He did slide and he plays it off Sancho. I don't know if the ball had gone out. No, it was argued. But anyways, he gives the throw to Holland.
Still waiting for the first goal of this semi-final. England's semi-final last year, you'll remember how Kieran Trippier, who isn't even here with this squad now, having been left out, scored that early free kick. England led 1-0 at half-time, but it ended up being Croatia's night as Jadon Sancho deflects the ball out of play, and it's another Dutch throw just in front of where Ronald Koeman is standing. Also remember the famous game in Rotterdam when he could easily have been sent off for fouling David Platt as he ran through, then scored the free kick himself and knocked England out of the World Cup. They didn't make it to USA 94. Ball played forward by Dumfries, but it's headed away, and now Barkley through the middle to Rashford, who looked to send it on towards Sterling. It was blocked by Van Dijk.
He was offside though, wasn't he?
He was offside, so it's a free kick to the Dutch.
Yeah, England haven't settled for me yet. They've not really put 4 or 5 passes together. I think the Dutch have been a better team so far. For me, the more threatening, better tempo, looked after the ball better.
I think you might need your ponchos on in a few minutes. We've been very kindly by the organisers here, being given free ponchos. Babel now down the left-hand side. Babel against Walker, plays it back towards Wijnaldum. Blint is available on the left-hand side, but Walker's quickly across to block it out of play, and it's a throw into the Dutch.
Not easy to put on the ponchos.
They're not, I was just going to say that, you know. Not easy to put on for some. Throw-in 10 yards back from the corner flag. Blint is going to take this with a backdrop of 15 England flags hanging from the fences. The throw from Blint back towards De Jong, and we've reached the midway point of the first half here in Guimarães. It is 0-0, and it's time for Ian Dennis.
He's just got his coat on now. He's been trying 45 minutes.
Thank you, John. Chris, got a yellow card. 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. It's been fast, it's been frenetic. England, though, haven't played it at the moment. They haven't really started, and Holland have been the better side. But it's still 0-0. But The Dutch, in their bright orange shirts and white shorts, are playing from left to right, out towards Dumfries, the right back on this near side. Duran plays it in field, then it runs away there from Wijnaldum. They'll try and get it back. Dumfries almost nipped in there. Maguire comes across, the white shirts of England and the navy shorts, and eventually it's headed away by Barkley. De Jong tidies up. The plan was for England to try and hurt Holland early doors with the pace. They haven't done that, and at the minute they don't seem to have any control in the middle of the park either, England.
You know, I think all departments the second best, let's be honest. Holland's been wasteful in the final third, that's helped England, but they're such a much a brighter side, look sharper, picking all the balls up, not winning most of the challenges.
Bergwijn gets away on the right hand side. Babel with a downward header into the penalty area, looking towards Depay, tried to spin away there and then try and connect, but it ran away from him, and it's scooped up by Jordan Pickford, all in yellow. But Gareth Southgate, Chris Sutton, doesn't look happy.
No, and clearly not happy. I've got to say, Bergwijn shouldn't win that initial header against Chilwell. But they're dominating the middle of the park. Always a worry that it's a settled Dutch midfield.
De Jong wrestles the ball away from Sancho. Babel just went away from him a fraction, out of the penalty area left-hand side, down by the byline, stands still. Has Wijnaldum in some support as well, looks to come infield. Blind takes over, cross from the left back, and it's off the chest of Barkley up towards Rashford. If Rashford can play it early, but he can't, he's caught there by De Ligt. Holland at the minute are the superior side. De Ligt gets away from Rashford, down towards the corner flag, right-hand side, delivers the cross, and gathered in by Jordan Pickford.
Well, he's bullied Rashford there twice, De Ligt. Shoulder barge a couple of times, 50-50s, and Rashford should have done better, but that's the power of De Ligt.
Just some news on BBC Radio 5 Live. The Eden Hazard, of course, always likely to leave Chelsea, but the BBC have this on the BBC Sport website. That's where you'll get further details, but expecting the deal to be concluded in a matter of days, that move from Chelsea to Real Madrid, and further details on the BBC Sport website, which of course will always be a reference, whether it be for the Cricket World Cup or indeed the Women's World Cup, which starts tomorrow, and we'll be live, 5 Live, every day in France, and we'll have commentary of that opening game tomorrow, France against South Korea. But this is the Nations League, and there is much to ponder for Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland at the moment, who are in deep conversation in the technical area. And John's quite right, the ponchos were handed out by UEFA, but it's all about the quality. And the fact that they didn't open is not my fault. It's another issue with major technology.
Ian, it's got buttons in
technology.
your pop. Ian, there's buttons in your pop them.
No,
That's how you open it.
No, Chris. This is the poncho that our producer bought us all, and they've got buttons. Listen, if Arsene Wenger can struggle with a zip, then I think you need to cut me a little bit of slack with a poncho that doesn't open. Anyway, that free kick goes astray, and England at the minute are not to where Gareth Southgate would want them to be in terms of the high standards that they've set.
Well, I think that free kick pretty much summed up this opening 26 minutes for England. Wayward, under no pressure, gave it away, and I think England get the throw there. I think he's a little bit lucky, Fabian Delph. There was a foul on De Jong. The Dutch player's not happy.
So it's a throw to England, level with the penalty area left-hand side. Chilwell, the left back, will take it to Ross Barkley. Goes to ground under a challenge from Duran, and in fact it's gone the other way. Martin Duran, who used to play with Middlesbrough just the one season, struggled really, didn't acclimatise to life in the Premier League, but has done much better for Atalanta. Will be playing in the Champions League next season as Van Dijk forward to Babel. Babel back to De Jong. He'll be leaving Ajax for Barcelona. Very talented midfielder. Short, fair hair, very comfortable on the ball. De Ligt might well be joining him in the new camp as the two combine. And the Netherlands playing from left to right. Ball threaded through. Bergwijn turns, looks to get away from Rice and succeeds. Still holds off Rice, who comes back at him, edge of the area, chips the ball into the penalty area, headed away by Stones. And then the header from Dumfries is going to be actually picked up by Jordan Pickford. 0-0.
Yeah, but that all came from De Jong. England have to get a grip of him and get on top of him in the middle of the park. They cannot let him dictate the game. Slid the ball to Bergwijn, and he has had a bright start.
When you look around,
with the midfield of Holland, they swap places. If De Jong wants to go on a little run and a little join in with a 1-2 and go forward, whether it be Wijnaldum or they'll just sit around, they'll just sit for him and then they rotate. England are very rigid. Rice has got to sit all the time. Barkley's sort of playing this left-hand side. I don't know where Delp's playing. I don't know if he's playing the right, the centre, but the midfield's a little bit disjointed for me.
The front three at the moment for England haven't rotated either. Sancho's primarily stayed out on the left-hand side. Sterling's up against Daley Blind on that far side, the right. Haven't really got Raheem Sterling involved a great deal so far on a night where he's captaining his country for the first time. On a proud night for him, I'm sure, his 50th cap for his country. As Walker comes on the inside of Babel, and Walker runs into space in the centre circle over the halfway line. Walker keeps on going and then passes the ball along the ground. Chilwell on this near side, the left, offside. John's right as well about the support. I mean, this stadium here in Guimarães holds around 30,000. I would say there may be about 18,000 England fans inside here. They've got the two-tiered stand to the right-hand side, but there are, I think, not enough segregation. And also inadequate stewarding, because you can't see the gangways, the yellow pathways for much of that top tier. Likewise on the far side. And I don't think there are enough stewards, and I don't think there's enough police presence inside the stadium here as well. Which, oh, that was a mistake by Ligt. Rashford, penalty surely, yes! Now, this I'm sure will just be a yellow card because it was a genuine attempt to play the ball. But Ligt made the error, and it is the yellow card for that very reason, because it was a genuine attempt to play the ball. So it's a penalty for England, but a lapse of concentration, and as he tried to redeem himself, it was the clearest of penalties. It will automatically go to VAR.
Well, horrific mistake from Ligt, who's had a fantastic season. Takes a poor touch, and Rashford onto it like a shot. He then gets his right foot onto the ball. Ligt trying to retrieve the situation, brings him down. It will go to VAR, but this isn't going to be overturned in any way, shape or form. What a chance for England.
The check is over. It is a penalty.
And Sterling threw the ball to Rashford as he picked it up, said, yeah, it's yours, you can have it, and he did earn it. I mean, Holland's been so dominant for me. Never looked any problems at all for them, and lack of concentration.
Marcus Rashford up against Tillerson. He waits, hands on hips. We've been playing for just past half an hour here in Guimarães. It's in the end away to our left-hand side. Rashford now walks away. It's a straight run-up for the Manchester United player. The French referee is making sure everybody is outside the penalty area. Rashford against Tillerson. England with this penalty kick. The referee blows his whistle. Rashford waits. Still waits. Runs up now. Marcus Rashford, slow run up, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. And England take the lead, somewhat against the run of play. But in this Nations League semi-final, it's the Netherlands 0, England 1, and the Ligt error was costly.
How calm was Marcus Rashford there? A little pressure on him. He earned it. He just strolled up, slowed his run down, waited till the goalie committed himself to the right, and just put it the other way. Really calm.
And the England fans all around this stadium are jumping up and down. There are so many St. George's flags, but the white and the red, they probably outnumbering the Dutch 4-1 inside this stadium. It feels very much like a home game, and they are celebrating, but what a cool penalty.
Yes, it was, and Rashford watching the goalkeeper all the way through his run-up, and at the last second sending Tillerson the wrong way. No fear, as cool as you like from Rashford.
Marcus Rashford, his 7th goal for his country in his 32nd appearance. He's actually now scored 4 in 7. He'd only scored 3 in his previous 25. But the Dutch will feel hard done by.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think they've been the best side by far, really, but just the final third, they've let themselves down. Composure, spotted the right pass. Oh, the finish has been poor. The first real sniff England's had.
And Ligt, who's still only 19 years of age, as you can hardly hear yourself think here inside the stadium in Guimarães, as England lead by a 1-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. De Ligt, when we were talking with the Dutch journalist ahead of the game with Mark Chapman, the youngest debutant at 17, he made it an error. In fact, he was at fault for both of the goals when they lost 2-0 to Bulgaria. Then he was sent off against Morocco in his next game, but he's since recovered so well. He's a real leader for Ajax. He will go on to great things, without a shadow of a doubt, but that was a lapse of concentration, a poor mistake to bring down Rashford to give away the penalty, which England now lead. And here is De Ligt, but has recovered from much worse testing, arduous circumstances in his early international career. He will go on, I'm sure, to become a very great player for the Netherlands. But Holland trailing now as Bergwijn out on that far side. Then the ball is played forward. Back it goes to De Jong. De Jong looks to turn. But from an England point of view, you would imagine now they're going to sit back and maybe strike on the counter.
I don't think they'll have any option. I think Collins dominated the football match.
Here is Dumfries. Chilwell, tight behind him, tries to thread it through. Helped out by Barkley. Barkley caught, though, by Martin Duran. Inside then to Babel. Babel's central position with his red hair. He's going to shoot from distance, and Pickford lost it. Skidded off the surface. We did have torrential rain for a long time, all afternoon. Probably stopped about 2 hours before kickoff, and that one did kick off the surface a little bit for Pickford.
Yes, it did, but I mean, he's a long way out. Babel 30 yards out, and Pickford made a bit of a mess of his dive there, but kept it out. Got a bit fortunate.
England, who won the last meeting between these two in Amsterdam. Jesse Lingard scoring his first goal for England in a 1-0 victory last year, March of last year. Only once of England actually won back-to-back matches against the Netherlands, 1935. And then Leeds Road, the old stadium at Huddersfield, then in 1946 under Walter Winterbottom, when they won 8-2. They have struggled against the Dutch. In fact, that was that first win in 8 since Euro 96. That 1-0 victory in Amsterdam. And they've had a bit of a resurgence as well of late under Ronald Koeman. That looked like a foul on Chilwell. Gareth Southgate doesn't seem too impressed as the referee lets play continue. Ball spread out towards the left-hand side. Blint on the overlap, cut out by Walker, got the block in. Barkley's overrun that. Van Dijk has a swipe at it. Was that offside? Yes, it was. Depay was offside. He shoots straight at Pickford, all in yellow anyway. But England lead by 1-0. And now Gareth Southgate is making the gesture to Raheem Sterling, and there's the swap. We talked before that they hadn't really rotated, but now Sterling comes to this near side, the left, and Jadon Sancho goes to the right.
Just a little bit too rigid, I think, England. I think, yeah, you can change the wingers and push whatever you want to do, but midfield is not enough options. They're not enjoying the ball when they get it. You watch the Dutch popping the ball around. All right, you can say they're not hurting England a lot, but that's what's let the Dutch down. But in midfield, they are very, very comfortable in possession where England aren't.
So the Nations League at the minute, the final on Sunday would be Portugal against England at the Estadio Dragão in Porto. Loose pass by Del. Barkley actually reacted well to that to keep it alive for England. Up towards Rashford. Rashford lays it off. Sancho nicks it past De Ligt. Sancho now in a central area. Good interchange. Rashford in the penalty area. The challenge was a very good one from Dumfries. The right back on the cover. He had to make the challenge, but he might well have injured Rashford in the process. But what a timely challenge it was.
Oh, yeah, you're dead right. And Sancho, little nutmeg on De Ligt, who's having a bit of a nightmare, but it all started a slick ball into Rashford, who took a lovely first touch. He releases Sancho, then the nutmeg. Rashford carries his run on, and Dumfries goes to ground. He has to get that challenge right. And boy, he does get it right, and he catches Rashford in the process. But Rashford would have been in one-on-one.
But Chris Waddle, that little interchange there, we haven't seen enough of that for England in the final third.
As I say, it was the first time really they passed the ball around. The three midfield, actually Rice went to Delph into Barkley, who did a little bit of skill, rolls it into Sancho, great little nutmeg, and then he rolls Rashford, but we've not saw enough of that. Get on the ball and enjoy it.
So England still lead by 1-0 whilst Rashford is down. By the way, I mean, obviously we've just talked about the potential of a Nations League final that will bring you on Sunday night, but before that, England-Scotland in the Women's World Cup Group D. That's at 5 o'clock in Nice. The opening game, France-South Korea tomorrow. But tomorrow morning, as well as the Cricket World Cup that we're bringing you on 5 Live Sports Extra, Johanna Konta in action in the semi-final of the French Open. That's on 5 Live tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So plenty of live sport to look forward to over the coming days and weeks on BBC Radio 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra. Here we are though in Guimarães in northern Portugal. Rashford is on his feet but walking gingerly, and I don't think he's in a position to continue at the moment. He really is hobbling badly.
He's not moving well, and there's Harry Kane out warming up. Well, he must be.
Harry Kane. All concern on Rashford, and I think they're going to have to try and make this change very, very quickly at the moment. Steve Holland is bellowing down the touchline just to try and get some sort of indication as to whether Rashford, the England goal scorer, is fit enough to resume.
I think the same weight, yeah.
Bit more rain in the air, sweeping into our commentary position. You'd be glad that I had the foresight to put the poncho on. As Ligt comes forward now, over the halfway line. Holland playing from left to right. There's a loose ball in the midfield from Martin de Roon. Back then with Van Dijk, just outside the centre circle of his own half. Rashford now does come on, but he's still hobbling. He's going to try and shake it off. England lead by a goal to nil thanks to his penalty. Converted 13 minutes before half-time. And we're now about 6 minutes away from the break on BBC Radio 5 Live. De Jong turns, Delph close to him. Blind playing as the left back for the Netherlands, and then Bergwijn of PSV Eindhoven now on the ball midway through the England half. Behind Ryan Babel, who's dropped deep. Scored 6 goals for Fulham. He's now out of contract after he'd arrived in January from Besiktas. Still the England support making all the noise here in Guimarães. De Jong on the halfway line goes back. Virgil van Dijk spreads play. Dumfries brings it under control after letting it bounce a couple of times, then runs over the ball. Raheem Sterling, the England captain, is back there helping out, wins the ball, plays it short and forward towards Ross Barkley, and Barkley will keep the ball in play despite the pressure of Dumfries, and Barkley now will run forward and then chips it across to Kyle Walker. The applause in the background from the England support was for the Chelsea player Ross Barkley, who's on the ball once again. He moved into an area of space in the centre circle and is bundled over from behind by Wijnaldum, and Ross Barkley's done well for England.
Yeah, good little spell for England. Strung a couple of passes together, and then Barkley gets the other side of Wijnaldum, and he should be cautioned for that. Brings him down.
French referee doesn't take any action against the Liverpool player. Every outfield player now is in the half away to our left-hand side. It's quite a high line, though, that the Dutch have got at the minute, 2 or 3 yards outside the penalty area. Barkley and Chilwell are the 2 players who are standing over this free kick. There's not much width either. Everybody's quite centred in the middle. Stones is forward from the back. Kyle Walker's just going to wander back with Depay just to curb any threat of a counter-attack by the Netherlands. And Chilwell touches it, and it's Barkley who chips the ball into the penalty area, aimed towards Maguire, comes out to Delph, struck it first time on the half volley, straight at Cillessen, who made the save, looks for the early release downfield towards Depay. Pickford's going to come out of his penalty area, and then Pickford was caught there by Depay, and that'll be a free kick to England. But he stood his ground.
Yeah, he's definitely stood his ground, but Delph had a good half volley there, straight at the keeper, didn't trouble him, very high lanes. Doesn't connect it really cleanly, but straight at the keeper, easy save, and then he sends one down. They're all offside to me when the free kick comes in, but anyway, he played it on. Has he caught Pickford? Not really.
Yet to score for England, Fabian Delph. It was down into the ground, but it was straight at the Barcelona goalkeeper. He'll be looking to move away from the new camp in search of regular football if he's to retain being the number 1 for the Netherlands. Only 10 appearances for Barcelona during the season. England lead by a goal to nil. We've got Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton who are with us here in Guimarães. 2.5 minutes to go to half-time. And the Rashford penalty is the difference between the two. Portugal await the winners in the final on Sunday. Pickford downfield, left-footed. England are playing from right to left. Van Dijk's downward header. Babel. Blind, De Jong, triangular passing movement between the 3. Blind then forward, nice little flick inside. by Depay, sweeping move this by the Dutch. Dumfries joins the attack, the right back crosses, takes a deflection, held up there by Barkley, and just holding on to the ball was Raheem Sterling. Then Ross Barkley actually stands still, invites a very late challenge and was caught by Wijnaldum, and Ross Barkley stays down, and that will be a free kick. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, they're by far the better football team, the Dutch, aren't they? Really good play out from the back and worked a good situation. Dumfries gave it away and Barkley just buys the foul.
Jordan Pickford happy to bide his time. 90 seconds to go to half-time here in Guimarães. It's the England voices, and there are many who are making themselves heard. Pickford is going to strike it long. Left-footed towards Chilwell. Ooh, Chilwell got something on that, but he was caught by Dumfries. And Dumfries is going to get shown a yellow card.
Well, he could have had 1, 2 or 3 times, let's be honest. He's been lucky, the lad, and he's very powerful, gets it down the straight hand side. Maybe lacks a little bit of technique, which has let him down in certain areas going forward today, but that's his 3rd foul, I think, which he could easily have been booked for the previous 2.
Quite a burly right back. Saw him, in fact we were together, Chris, weren't we? PSV against Tottenham. Likes to get forward, as we've seen already tonight, but Chris Sutton, Chilwell clearly felt the effects of that aerial duel.
Yeah, in fairness to Dumfries, his eyes are always on the ball. You know, he's a rugged type player, all in. It's a nasty fall for Chilwell. He gets the touch, Chilwell, and then Dumfries clatters him.
Well, asking for the stretcher, the referee.
Well, I mean, the immediate concern would be, is he conscious? Because it's hard for us to tell at the moment, because the doctor is leading over.
Get his top on.
There was an incident, we did the Swiss last night, and we talked about Fabian Schär, the Newcastle United player, who was concussed. He was caught on the side of the head. The good thing is that his arm did go down, so it's not like his head hit the ground as well. So he's caught on the side of the head. But they'll be checking on the welfare, quite rightly, of the Leicester player. They won't want to take any chances. But Danny Rose is warming up. They're asking him just to stand still at the moment. They're clearly checking on his vision as well.
Well, Rose was actually stripped to come on, but Chilwell given time. But you're right, with head injuries, there's always a concern now, and the player needs to be given time.
But once again, the doctor's holding Chilwell by his shoulders. He's now telling Chilwell to close his eyes and waiting to see if there's any movement there. So they're wanting to see if he's still got that natural balance. And the conversations are going on between the doctor and Ben Chilwell. Meanwhile, England, when play resumes, there'll be 2 minutes of added on time. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. England lead by a 1-0. They have a free kick on the left-hand side, 2 or 3 yards in from the touchline. Midway through the Dutch half, England in their white shirts playing from right to left. Chilwell then is going to take the ball, plays it in cute, quite low, curling from the left-hand side, and cleared away by Ligt. And then hammered away by Babel. Stones gets his head on that as well. The good thing is that they'll probably test him again in the dressing room at half-time, Ben Chilwell, as the Netherlands spread play out towards their left-back, Daley Blind. Infield now to De Jong, closed down by Delph. Then out towards Van Dijk. Martin Duran gets on the ball, low ball towards Wijnaldum, takes it in and looks to turn from Raheem Sterling to Dumfries. Forward on this near side, the right, midway through the England half. Bit of blue sky now pops up overhead on this evening here in northern Portugal, as Rashford manages to get the ball away, and Rashford runs forward on the left-hand side. He's got Sterling through the middle, but in the end the orange shirts were back there, and back there in number, and De Ligt and De Jong will bring the ball clear.
No, I thought there was a foul, Rashford on Depay, but De Jong, he's a player, isn't he? Everything goes through him, all the attacks start through him in that Dutch midfield.
Tempo of the game has noticeably slowed. The ball up into the penalty area towards Depay. Tight behind him was Chilwell. Stones picks up the ball now. Stones stands on the ball, comes under pressure from Babel, forced back to his byline, actually presents it straight to Babel. That was a mistake by Stones, and all of a sudden the Netherlands now have an opportunity, and the shot comes in from Wijnaldum, and it takes a deflection, and that was all down to John Stones.
Yeah, well, we've always said over the years, haven't we, John Stones, good footballer, reads the game well, good on the ball. Decision making sometimes lets him down, and on that occasion it did.
This will be the last bit of action, because of the 2 minutes of added on time, we're already into the third minute. England lead 1-0. Daley Blind's going to come across to this near side to take the corner kick, which is the Dutch right. Should be an in-swinger. Everybody is forward for the Netherlands. England have everybody back. Depay's also there if they want to take it short. He's back to 10 yards, Raheem Sterling. Then they do take it short. Depay with the delivery, and the header from De Ligt is wide. Climbed high, lacked direction.
Well, golden opportunity, and an opportunity to make amends. It's a free header from De Ligt. He sees it all the way. It's a really good ball in. Ronald Koeman in the technical area, gesturing to head the ball. De Ligt has to hit the target. He should score. He's had a very poor half by his standards.
A chance to redeem himself, because it was his error that led to the England penalty, as England have a slender lead at half-time, because there is the half-time whistle, and I'm sure that Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton will analyse this game with Mark Chapman. But against the run of play, when it was converted 13 minutes before half-time by Marcus Rashford, very coolly, the Netherlands 0, England 1. Mark?
Analyse that first half then, Chris Waddle.
1-0 England. No, I think I've got to say the Dutch have dominated the game. England's had the odd occasion. Yes, they're rewarded with a pen. Was a clear pen, a mistake. That's how they've capitalised on Holland. Apart from that, the odd movement, odd little thing by England where they've gone forward and used the ball well, but one or two occasions. The Dutch have dominated the game, but in the final third they haven't had that killer pass or found the right selection. But as up to the final third, they're far better than England that first half.
Chris Sutton, I mean, I suppose, whilst they have been better, Jordan Pickford's only had to make a couple of saves, really, and both from long distance.
Yeah, not enough clear-cut chances for the Dutch, but the better team are behind. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think England, they've really lacked rhythm, especially in the centre of the park, and the Dutch have dominated, but England have looked pretty comfortable. But I suppose Gareth Southgate at half-time, he's got plenty of thinking to do, because the Dutch have dominated.
Barkley, the pick of the England midfielders?
Oh, that's a tough one. Look, I think, is he the pick? I'm not so sure any of them have done enough, really, but he's made a couple of passes. He's looked, quite strong, but they need more influence in there. We haven't really seen enough of Fabian Delph, but that's always a risk. I think Fabian Delph, his last game was April the 9th, hasn't played enough football. That was always going to be an area which is going to cause Gareth Southgate a problem. Jordan Henderson, I thought he should have started. He's on the bench, but Gareth elected to leave him out.
I think Barkley's looked probably the best of the three. We know what Rice is. He's been very rigid in front of that back four, not really got on the ball and made things happen like De Jong has for Holland. But Barkley looks the brighter, because he's actually is trying to do things with the ball. He's lost it a few times, but he has been trying to be creative when he gets it.
Sam says, that's why I love Rashford. He chased everything down at pace, even though it was a mistake from De Ligt. We wouldn't have won the penalty without Rashford. Johnny, that'll knock a bit off De Ligt's price tag. And Dan, I shouldn't laugh at this, but it has made me chuckle. Dan says De Ligt looking like a ready-made replacement for Phil Jones. 85058 at 5 Live Sport. Chris, are you laughing? Chris Sutton, are you laughing at that? You shouldn't be laughing at that tweet.
No, it's Chris Waddle.
No, Chris Waddle laughing at it. 85058 at 5 Live Sport. If you want to get in touch with us, second half on the way, we'll head to Rome, where the Diamond League Athletics is going on, and round up the day's action at the French Open tennis as well. 21 minutes to 9. Here's Mitch.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Welsh Government says it will set up a task force to support workers at Ford's plant in Bridgend. 1,700 jobs will be lost when it closes next September. The company says the decision's down to changing customer demand and cost. The commemorations, marking 75 years since the D-Day landings, are coming to a close. There have been 2 days of events in northern France where world leaders have paid tribute to veterans. Theresa May told them the only words we can say are thank you. The widow of one of the London Bridge terror attackers says she won't grieve for her husband. Zara Raymond told an inquest that she mourned with the rest of London when Curran Butt and 2 others killed 8 people in 2017. And MasterCard has suspended a campaign featuring Neymar. A woman's accusing the footballer of raping her at a hotel in Paris, which he strongly denies. The company says it will stop using him in adverts until the situation is cleared up.
The best live sport. The ICC Cricket World Cup.
Up the hill he comes, short delivery, pulled the calls up mid-wicket.
This is coming towards us, mind the windows. Cricket comes home.
Hits 3 figures, raises his bat to the crowd.
Straight down the throat.
Hear every ball, every boundary and every wicket with 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra.
Oh my word, this would be dramatic. And keep up to date with the TMS podcast. Download and subscribe using the BBC Sounds app.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
England lead Holland by a 1-0 in the Nations League semi-final. Marcus Rashford from the penalty spot. Earlier, we brought you commentary on Dina Asher-Smith's defeat in the women's 100 metres at the Diamond League meeting in Rome. While we were listening to the football, Laura Muir was in 1,500 metres action, and commentary comes from Mike Costello.
In towards the home straight they come, and Dibaba now, who took it up with a lap to go, is being challenged by Laura Muir. Dibaba, though, is holding off at this stage with 80 metres to go. She leads by 3 metres. Muir is trying to close the gap. 50 metres to run. It's the world record holder Dibaba holding on. Dibaba wins from Laura Muir in second place. 3 minutes, 56.29 seconds. It's the fastest time in the world this year for the world record holder Genzabi Dibaba, with Laura Muir in second place.
Well, let's talk to Mike now. So no victories for either Asher-Smith or Muir. How would you assess their performances?
I would say highly encouraging, Mark, with almost a full 4 months to go to the World Championships. They're unusually late this year because they're in Doha in Qatar, so the climate issues raise the same problems that they faced in organising the Football World Cup in 2022. So the championships towards the end of September and drifting into October, so they've got a long way to go, and they were very encouraging performances by Laura Muir in second place and by Dina Asher-Smith in second place in the women's 100 metres earlier on. In both cases, Muir and Asher-Smith now lie second in the world rankings this year, and remember, Asher-Smith is the leader in the world rankings in the 200 metres, so running into strong form. Alison Kirbishley.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both will be fairly disappointed. Look, every athlete wants to come out here and win. That's what our sport is about. But I think when they both look at the sort of performances that they gave tonight, you know, they're mixing it with the best. And I think Laura Muir just missed a trick when Dibaba made the move with 500 metres to go. She had a lot of work, a lot of ground to make up in that final 500 metres. And I think if we look at a split, she will have been finishing as quick as Dibaba was. She just couldn't get right onto her shoulder because the break was made. And when you look at Dina, she was leading the field at about, 50, 60 metres. And Elaine Thompson really had to claw her way back. She's never been beaten by Dina, and you could see that desire in her eye tonight to want to make sure that she had the scalp of Dina tonight, because everyone is starting to talk about this young Brit.
What I thought looking at the 100 metres, Alison, was that with Dina Asher-Smith leading at halfway and through 60 metres, maybe even 70 metres, I thought her greater 200 metre strength would tell. So would she be concerned that it looks as though at this stage Elaine Thompson, the Olympic champion's top speed, is a bit sharper?
No, because I think when you look at what happened in Stockholm last week, it was a completely turned the whole race on its head.
Over 200 metres.
Over 200 metres, she was running away from Elaine Thompson there. She absolutely destroyed a world-class field last week. Daphne Schippers was in that field as well, former world champion. So I think she'll take the confidence from that. But you said it, 4 months away. You know, the one person that gets it right when it matters is Dina Asher-Smith and her coach John Blackie. They will have the season planned. They will take each race, they will learn from it, and they will go back to training, and they will get back to her racing plan, just as Laura Muir will. She's off to do an 800 in France next week. You know, her and her coach Andy they know exactly what they've got to do. It matters when it comes to Doha.
And just some detail, Laura Muir's time, 3 minutes 56.73 seconds, is her second quickest 1,500 metres ever. And as I say, that takes her to number 2 in the world rankings this year, behind only the woman who beat her tonight, the world record holder Genzabi Dibaba. And Dina Asher-Smith with 10.94 seconds in second place also moves into the world number 2 position. Only 3 athletes in the women's 100 metres have gone beneath 11 seconds this season. And just a moment ago, a terrific run by Britain's Andrew Pozzi, second in the men's 110 metres hurdles behind the former world champion Sergei Shabenkov of Russia. And in the men's 200 metres, a surprise as Noah Lyles, the American, was beaten by his compatriot Michael Norman, 19.70 seconds, the lightning fast time for Norman.
Mike Costello and Alison Kirbysley, second half of England against Netherlands on the way. Let's next go to Grace Road, Leicestershire, where England's women have absolutely walloped the West Indies in their first one-day international. Very impressive from England, Natalie Germanos.
Absolutely, very impressive, winning by 208 runs, which is the biggest margin of victory in terms of runs in one-day internationals over the West Indies by any team. England made 318 for 9, and the player of the match, Amy Jones, made 91 from 99 with 10 fours and 2 sixes, and eventually West Indies were bowled out for 110.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Now, Britain's Johanna Konta can book a place in the French Open final tomorrow morning. Commentary of semi-final is on 5 Live from 10 o'clock. Our tennis correspondent, Russell Fuller, is in Paris.
So what a difference a year makes for Johanna Konta. She slipped to 50 in the world rankings after last year's Wimbledon, 12 months after reaching the semi-finals on the grass. And now she stands one step away from a Grand Slam final. And of the 4 women left in the draw, she might not be the highest ranked, but she's the only one with the experience of playing in a Grand Slam semi-final before. Marketa Vondrousova of the Czech Republic, her opponent. Ash Barty of Australia, the highest seed left in, against Amanda Anisimova, who beat Simona Halep in the other semi-final. And Courtney Nguyen, who writes for the WTA, she is the WTA insider, is here in the Roland Garros commentary box. We saw shoots of a recovery at the start of the year from Johanna Konta. Those shoots grew during 2 fabulous Fed Cup ties, Courtney. But no one saw this coming. Surely not even the WTA insider.
Maybe not a Grand Slam semifinal here at Roland Garros for Johanna Konta, but we saw, you're absolutely right, Russell, the seeds of something really good coming. And I thought that, this was more going to be a really positive build-up towards the grass season, then go into the hard court season, as we know, Joe being such a great player on both of those surfaces. But here at Roland Garros, as we've seen on the women's side time and time again, and just across the clay season, you don't necessarily have to be a clay court specialist to win this title. You don't have to be a clay court specialist to play well and get good results on the clay. I think that what Konta has done is really build in some of the clay court, techniques and things like that in her game, but she's this good of a player. I mean, you don't make 2 slam semifinals on other 2 surfaces by fluke. This is all building up to this.
So she has the 2 Grand Slam semi-finals. No one else in the draw has been this far, but Konta reckons there's no great advantage to Great Britain.
I mean, I think it's all very individual. I mean, we've seen plenty of first-time semi-finalists also make it one step further and even win Grand Slam. So I think there's a combination. It depends on the person, but I will definitely just look to use the experience that I have to be able to deal with the challenges that will come from my opponent and keep enjoying that process of just playing the game out there.
Not a clay court natural, as you said, Courtney. Marketa Vondrousova is perhaps the only clay court natural left in the draw.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, because she's grown up on it, right? The exposure that Konta, that Barty, that Anisimova have had on this surface is minimal compared to the Czech teenager. She plays well on this surface, and she plays a different type of game than what we're used to seeing with the successful Czech players, who are all very clean ball strikers, more powerful, aggressive in a typical way. You just see it when the ball flies off their racket from, Petra Kvitova to Lucy Safarova, who made the final here a few years ago. But for Vondrousova, she plays this silky smooth game. It's very, very deceptive. She's a tall player. She's a strong player. She has a good pop on her serve. But I thought it was so interesting that after she beat Petra Martic in the quarterfinals, Martic, a veteran player who's now played Vondrousova 5 times, she said, her movement reminds me of Simona Halep. You wouldn't think it because she's not this small, speedy player that looks built like Speedy Gonzalez. But to get that ball past her is incredibly difficult. She puts a lot of defensive pressure on you, and she doesn't make a lot of unforced errors. And that's going to be the ultimate challenge for Conte.
Courtney and Wynne, thank you. We are almost ready to go. Grand Slam semi-final day here at Roland Garros in both the men's and the women's. All due to get underway on 5 Live at 10 o'clock.
A couple of other stories for you at the Cricket World Cup today. Men's Cricket World Cup, Australia recovered from an awful start to beat the West Indies by 15 runs. The Windies were chasing 289 for victory. They only got to 273 for 9. And BBC Sport understands a deal for Chelsea's Eden Hazard to join Real Madrid will be concluded in a matter of days. Let's head back to Portugal. England a goal to the good at half-time. Marcus Rashford from the penalty spot. We can return to the two Chris's, Ian Dennis and John Murray.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, we're just waiting to see if there's any sign of a possible change for England. Just wondering, Chris Waddle, whether is now the time to bring on the Champions League winning captain at half-time when midfield has been a bit of an issue?
Yeah, I think we haven't looked after the ball well enough in the middle of the park. So, I think I'd look at John Henderson for Delph if I was making a change.
Chris Sutton?
Yeah, I agree with that. Hasn't been good enough in the middle of the park, and quite honestly, they've been comprehensively outplayed. So, that must be in Gareth's mind about making a change, and it looks like Harry Kane, in fact, is on, but that would be because of the Rashford ankle injury, I suspect.
Just looking down now, we see Harry Kane appearing. He's got the captain's armband on, so he's taken that back from Raheem Sterling, and Harry Kane gets a huge cheer. They've seen him now, the England fans. As I say, I think there might be as many as 20,000 England fans here. And Rashford, who was injured, he took quite a hefty knock from the Ligt challenge that resulted in the England penalty, but he was also caught. It was actually he kicked the defender, didn't he? Dumfries.
It's definitely the injury what's took him off. I don't think it's tactically. I don't think he would have changed this early. But so it gives Harry Kane a chance.
So the England goal scorer, Marcus Rashford, his 7th goal for England. First time he scored from the penalty spot. Well, although he did score in the shootout against Colombia, remember, at the World Cup last year. He's off, and the Dutch begin the second half here in Gimmerange on a rainy night, quite a cold night now as well, and Harry Kane is on the field. The Dutch captain, Van Dijk, plays the ball back to Sillessen, who chips it away towards the halfway line. Daley Blind is there. It's won back by Delph as well, beats Blind on the right flank. England are playing from left to right in this first half as we look on the dressing room side of the ground as the ball trundles out of play on the halfway line for a throw-in to England. So Harry Kane is on for his 38th cap. Throw-in that the Dutch will take. Dutch side tonight, Sillessen, Dumfries, De Ligt, Van Dijk and Blind. Midfield of De Jong, Frankie De Jong, with De Roon, Wijnaldum, and then the front line of Bergwijn, Memphis Depay and Ryan Babel. And the England team tonight, Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire and Chilwell, Rice, Barkley and Delph, and then Sancho, Sterling, and now substitute Harry Kane. And in the second half, Sancho has started on the right-hand side and Sterling out on the left. Netherlands 0, England 1 the scoreline. Around about 3,000 to 4,000 Dutch fans, who many of whom are easily picked out because they're wearing some orange garment of some variety, as is their way, as England win a free kick for handball deep inside their own half. So BBC Radio 5 Live, Chris Waddle is with us, played in a World Cup semi-final for England, 62 caps. Chris Sutton is with us as well, a winner of the league title in both England and Scotland. And Jordan Pickford actually is going to come all the way out of his penalty area to take this free kick on the left-hand side. If you haven't been listening during the course of the match, it's an incredibly atmospheric occasion. There's a great noise inside this stadium here in Guimarães in northern Portugal, with wooded hills all around. De Ligt with the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, puts some force behind this, back to Sillessen, the goalkeeper, who will clear it towards the halfway line. Chilwell, who's recovered sufficiently from the knock that he took near half-time, the England left back, as Harry Kane's substitution is announced and cheered to the rafters. Here's Babel on the left-hand side, Ryan Babel. sets off and then just checks back and gives it to Frankie de Jong. Now Blind. De Jong back to Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum flicks a pass right-footed. Chilwell watches it, but it won't be caught by Dumfries, and it's through for a goal kick to England, and the score is 1-0 to England.
Well, the Dutch have started like they did first half. Very decent tempo about them, closing England down, getting the ball off them quite easily.
As the goal kick taken by Pickford doesn't go out of the penalty area.
That should be a free kick.
It should be a free kick, totally agree with you. I think that will be changed. That's
stupid rule.
At some point that will be changed. Another thing, Chris, when you and I were sitting in Moscow watching England in the semi-final in the World Cup last year, they were winning 1-0 at half-time. Exactly the situation they're in here, as Walker chases for the ball, but Delph gets there first. Delph actually plays it back to Rice under pressure, and it goes back to Stones as well. There surely will have been talk in the dressing room at half-time for England of let's let it slip this time.
I think Garrett was said, I need a bit more from you. Yeah, the Dutch have dominated the game, really.
Chilwell does well under pressure from two Dutchmen in the centre circle, even though he was falling, managed to find Delph. Jadon Sancho. Then it goes back to Rice on the halfway line. The 20-year-old Declan Rice has a look and then decides Stones is the best option. Square from him to Maguire. Now to Chilwell on the left-hand side. Chilwell goes for a long ball. Sterling on the chase. The flag stays down. Sterling in the box on the left-hand side. Uses pace. The goalkeeper managed to get a hand to it, and it deflected behind.
Yeah, now the flag's gone up.
Oh, the flag has gone up, yeah.
It's one that
went up late.
Yeah, that they leave.
Oh, the Dutch have given it away. Barkley with a chance, shoots, double deflection on the edge of the penalty area, and then an important challenge, an important recovery in the D on the edge of the box by Dumfries, and the ball eventually bounces out of play for over here on the right for a throw to England.
Well, I mean, Sterling is just offside. I mean, it's a yard, if that half a yard, he's offside and got that right. But then the Dutch get sloppy and give it away.
It was the old or the new UEFA direction to the assistant referees to delay the flag under VAR, and now De Roon and Barkley together both went to ground, and it's a free kick to England.
I can understand the Dutch frustration there, because but initially Barkley falls on the ball, is trying to con the referee into giving him a free kick. He doesn't give that one, but then Barkley doesn't let De Roon get a touch on the ball and shields the ball. Then De Roon moves him out of the way, and the free kick is awarded. That's a head scratcher.
It is 1-0 to England. Certainly made the Dutch scratch their heads. Free kick. It's over towards the left-hand side, very much left of centre. Barkley raises his right hand. Chilwell's there as well. The Dutch holding the line outside of the penalty area. Sterling currently standing in an offside position, but a little wider. Barkley flights it into the penalty area. Two Dutchmen go for it. Maguire shoots across the penalty area. Could have gone anywhere from Harry Maguire. Hit a Dutchman and eventually should be cleared by De Roon in the D on the edge of his own box. England are winning this semi-final by 1-0. The winners will play Portugal down in Porto. Lovely Porto. Oh, and now England have lost possession. And in comes the challenge from Chilwell inside the penalty area. And the referee points and says it's a goal kick. And the Dutch, Bergwijn was the player challenged by Chilwell, has gone to the referee and asked him to have a look at this. And referee Turpin is now holding his ear. He's obviously speaking to the VAR people.
He's got a chance. If he has a look at this, I think it's just outside the box, to be perfectly honest, John, but he said no.
Yeah, we've got a screen here as well which tells us if there is a VAR check, and it's showing nothing.
That looked a pretty clear and obvious error there. Bergwijn actually gets a touch on the ball, and he's cleaned out by Chilwell, but nothing given.
I think it was just inside the box as well.
I thought the contact was just outside.
Just outside as well. Okay. Lost John 2-1.
Yeah, lost. Yeah, that's democracy for you. Here's Delph, deep inside his own half. Stones then plays it forward as well. Taken down nicely by Sancho. Sancho over the halfway line, running at Van Dijk. Slips it past Van Dijk to Kane. Kane, right side of the penalty area. Turns, plays it back centrally. Barkley trying to get the ball under control. He's got options to his left. He finds them. It's Chilwell. Chilwell now to Sterling in the box on the left. Sterling back onto his right foot and then turned into Dumfries. The ball ran away and Van Dijk chasing after it, has chipped it out of play for a throw.
It's not often you say his first touch was bad, was it? I think the first time this season we've said that, is it? Just runs it out of play. Great touch by Sancho down the right-hand side.
19-year-old Sancho. He's had a couple of bright moments tonight, starting for England. It's Sancho this evening winning his 5th cap. It's his 3rd start. It's corner. Van Dijk, actually, that touch took it out of play for a corner. Corner to England from the left. Chilwell waiting to take this. And as ever with England, it's a case of where's Harry Maguire? He's deep. Here's Chilwell's corner aiming for Maguire, who got his head to it, nodded it across the 6-yard box, and it was headed away by Frankie de Jong, taken up for England by Sterling. This is a good spell for England. Chilwell keeps it in on the left, plays it back to Delph, left-footed cross from Delph, headed, and saved! Sancho got in there with a header, and Cillessen to his right was able to leap and save it.
And he's got to score, Sancho. The cross right on the money, again from Chilwell. And Sancho, he must be 6 yards out, and he heads it straight at Cillessen, who makes a comfortable save. Anywhere really to his side, and England go 2 up.
I think it was Delph, I think, who just put it in. But what is a dream position, wasn't it? Middle of the goal, 4 or 5 yards out. Bit of power, any side of the keeper with a bit of pace, and it's a goal straight at him.
What a chance that was. If that goes in, you've got a 2-0 lead in the semi-final. And now Walker has been dispossessed by Memphis Depay, who shoots it, saved. Back to Depay, couldn't get his leg to it. And then the shot driven in by de Roon, and that's an easy pick-up for Pickford. It bounced back to Memphis Depay at a very awkward height, and he couldn't make contact.
I've got to say, Kyle Walker gives it away. He could take it another yard. He hit it really early from, 22, 23 yards.
England back with it. Kane on the halfway line into Delph, glances a header out towards the right-hand side. The game just at the moment has become quite open. What a chance for Sancho at one end. Depay, not as clear a chance by any means, but a good chance.
It's good now, the game is open. I think that, it's still a decent tempo about the game, but it's very open.
Netherlands 0, England 1. And the Dutch in possession with Bergwijn. Takes it on through the middle, but across comes Rice, does very well there, Declan Rice, and he runs away with the ball. Barkley takes it up on the left-hand side and then just plays it back into central defence. And England can start again from deep inside their own half. Pickford passes the ball out to Stones. England coming into this match after scoring 5 goals in each of their last 2 games in the early qualifiers against the Czech Republic and Montenegro. Stones playing it back to Pickford, and Pickford will clear it downfield, and it takes a touch off the head of Babel and bounces out of play for a throw into England right on the halfway line. The Dutch in their last game found themselves 2-0 down to the Germans in their Euro qualifier. They came back to make it 2-2, so they are capable of staging a comeback. And if you remember, the Germans then won it with a goal right at the end. Walker might have just taken a knock there, but he's okay, just on the halfway line after taking the throw. Ball ankled in from the far side by Chilwell, and it bounces out of play via a deflection for a throw-in to England that Chilwell himself will take. 1-0 England lead. Kane. He'll need better service than he received in Madrid on Saturday night. In goes Barkley with an excellent challenge on Frankie de Jong. Now the ball taken up down the left-hand side by Kane, who goes round 2 men. Kane into the full-back position. He looked fully fit there. Kane takes it onto the dead ball line, and then the challenge comes in from Dumfries, and the ball runs away from the England captain.
Yeah, it's a good burst, but he had the opportunity to put it in, Harry Kane. He just dallied on the ball and allowed Dumfries to bite back and take it off him.
Kane's on, still wondering about Jordan Henderson, or who is going to be called over for England. But it looks as though they might be about to make another change, and it looks like Jesse Lingard is going to be the next player to come on for England. The Dutch coming forward with Wijnaldum. That's a good challenge from Walker. Babel in halfway inside the England half to win it back for the Dutch in the orange shirts. Babel then back to de Roon, but slightly misplaced, so now Daley Blind left back this evening for the Dutch. Babel with the red hair. Memphis Depay Memphis Depay, but England have got everyone apart from Kane back behind the ball, so Memphis Depay has to take it towards the centre circle and then chip it towards the far side, and then Dumfries is forced by Chilwell to give it back into his own half. Just got a feeling that Ronald Koeman might be thinking about a change as well, as De Roon now crosses the halfway line. De Roon gets the ball back. It looks like it's the other Ajax youngster, Van der Beek, who is likely to be coming on into the midfield, if that little gesture from Ronald Koeman was anything of an indication. 1-0 England lead. BBC Radio 5 Live. Now the ball with Dumfries on the right. High, very deep cross towards the far side of the penalty area. Babel and Walker together. Babel takes it out towards the corner flag, takes on Walker one way, then turns back, and then turns again and chips it back towards Blind. Blind, square to De Jong. De Jong, he'll play it square as well to De Roon. De Roon now, middle of the England half. Back again to Frankie de Jong. De Roon back to de Jong, but Barkley and indeed Sterling doing well. Sterling might have just caught De Roon, but he kept his feet. Now Bergwijn. Bergwijn to the edge of the penalty area. Wijnaldum back to De Roon. De Roon turns, gives it back again to Frankie de Jong. 35 yards out. Frankie de Jong with his bobbing blonde hair uses Blind. Now here it's the left-hand side with Ryan Babel again, but Walker's with him. And lots of Dutch possession, but England holding firm and forcing the Dutch back into their own half with just over half an hour to play. Still England lead through the first half. Marcus Rashford penalty, which was conceded after a bad mistake by the extremely highly rated Matthijs de Ligt. Here's Frankie de Jong and Babel back into his own half again. Lots of Dutch possession.
Well, they're not panicking, they're not rushing it, they're waiting for an opportunity. Give England credit. They've dropped off, got behind the ball, and they really are frustrating Holland.
England, who've won their last 5 matches, unbeaten in their last 7. Van Dijk goes for one of those long passes out towards the right-hand side to Dumfries, whose cross is blocked at source by Chilwell, and then De Vries back again towards De Roon, and then De Jong. De Jong looked to perhaps play it into the edge of the area, went short to Bergwijn. Bergwijn gets it back from Blind. Now Memphis Depay towards the edge of the penalty area. Wijnaldum is there, out to Dumfries on the right-hand side. De Roon plays it now, angles it in towards the penalty spot, but Delph was there to get up and head it behind. And we will see very shortly Jesse Lingard. Depends whether they'll bring him, I'm not sure they'll bring him on now, but Lingard preparing to come on as England's second substitute with almost exactly half an hour to play. Netherlands 0, England 1, and the Dutch have their second corner of the match, their first corner of the second half. Here it is, played in towards the near post, and the referee has spotted a foul in England's favour. I think it's Declan Rice who's left on the ground with his hands on his face, and it's a free kick to England, who lead 1-0, and the change will see Jadon Sancho replaced by Lingard. Thoughts?
It's an interesting one. It's not absolutely like for like, and Lingard had a disappointing end to the season. Well, a disappointing season, I would say, for Manchester United. There's a player who Gareth Southgate seems to trust. I think Sancho looked bright at times during the game.
I just wouldn't have Lingard defensively and covering the ground more. That's his game, isn't it? He's very mobile, chasing people down, and just maybe slightly change the shape because the Dutch are dominating possession.
Lingard, 23rd cap, did score in his last 2 internationals, if you remember, in November against the USA, and that important equaliser against Croatia in the final group match at Wembley, in which England finished ahead of Spain and the Croats to get here to Portugal, to these finals. Into the last half hour we go then. Gareth Southgate making his second change. Ronald Koeman down there, hands in his pockets, has yet to make one. By the way, there could be extra time and penalties tonight in this semi-final if the Dutch are able to draw level again. England, Chilwell with the clearance, but straight back to Dumfries, and then as the ball bounced between them, a high foot from Chilwell, and it's a free kick to the Dutch out on the right.
And they're defending so narrow, England, they're saying to the Dutch, yep, you have the ball out wide, you put big high crosses in, we'll deal with it. The Dutch reluctant to do that, but England have been very disciplined in their defending.
don't seem to have seen a great deal of Raheem Sterling.
No, I don't think we saw a great deal of anything going forward with England, let's be honest. Ross Barkley's probably the only one who's got on the ball at times and trying to make things happen, but it's just been a well-disciplined performance so far for England.
Free kick then for the Dutch is taken. It's almost rather hurriedly there, just swept across field from the right-hand side by Memphis Depay, beyond anyone else inside the penalty area, and England are able to clear it out for a throw on the halfway line. 1-0 England lead. BBC Radio 5 Live. On 5 Live tomorrow, and this is very much weather permitting, you will hear Johanna Konta's semi-final at the French Open, live from Roland Garros against the 19-year-old Czech Marketa Vondrasova. That is due to be played from 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock tomorrow, UK time. It'll be here on 5 Live. But the forecast isn't great for Paris. Forecast much better for northern Portugal tomorrow, I'm delighted to say. Here's Dumfries, ball on the right-hand side. England are able to clear it. Dumfries again, though, plays it back through the legs of De Roon. He'll have to go back into his own half. Just feel we're at a pivotal part of the game here.
But I think England will be happy the way Holland's playing now. They're just playing in front of them. It's very slow. England can get a great shape, and they have. They're just sitting back and saying, come on, what you've got.
Van Dijk just leans back and sends out one of those creamy passes to the far side to Dumfries. Then it comes back to De Jong centrally. Delph is quickly in with the challenge. Still, though, Frankie De Jong in possession. Barbel comes almost to the halfway line to the centre circle, and he takes possession. De Jong again. Just a little lull inside the Dom Afonso Henriquez Stadium while the Dutch have possession. Then it's through towards Wijnaldum. Dumfries arrives on the right-hand side. Here's the ball across. Bergwijn lays it back. De Roon with a shot. Might have hit his own man, Wijnaldum, inside the box, and it's skewed away out to the far side where Chilwell nodded it out of play.
They worked that really well down the right-hand side. A low cross this time. Actually hit the ball into his own player.
Dutch take the throw, then Dumfries tries to work it into the penalty area. It's blocked, and Maguire is able to volley it high towards Harry Kane near the halfway line. Bouncing ball, Kane gets his head to it. Sterling does well, tries to lift it forward towards Lingard. This was cleared away by Van Dijk. Now Wijnaldum. Delph ever so close to Wijnaldum in the centre circle. Wijnaldum wriggles away and then gives it to Blind. Now Barbel's an opportunity, is a possibility on the left-hand side. Instead it goes to Memphis Depay, but Lingard is right there with his former Manchester United teammate. Back it comes to Frankie de Jong. De Jong slips the ball through it. A very narrow avenue to Memphis Depay, but Declan Rice does the job. Kane, ball just bounces off Kane's head, and it's back to the Dutch. 25 minutes to play. Netherlands 0, England 1 in the semi-final. And we now see appearing from down from the roof of the Dutch dugout, Donny van der Beek, and also I see that Quincy Promes is going to come on as well, the winger from Sevilla. Here's Wijnaldum, 25 yards out, shoots, but it was a grass cutter right across the surface of the pitch here and straight at the England goalkeeper Pickford.
Yeah, England can't get out. The Dutch are really dominating this game now, the possession. That was half a chance. Stones did well to put Wijnaldum under pressure. It was a weak shot in the end.
Dutch about to make a double change next time the ball goes out of play. England with the ball inside, just on the edge of their own penalty area. Stones looks up, plays it low and forward towards Kane, who's challenged. He had Blint behind him. De Jong put in the challenge, and the Dutch won the ball back from the England captain quite comfortably.
He's got to do better there, Harry Kane. When the ball goes into him, it needs to stick.
Boos again for Virgil van Dijk. I think if you're a top-class player and you go away from home and get booed, I think that's probably a good feeling, that, because you know that they know that you're a threat. Here's Barbel on the left-hand side. Walker comes across. The ball bounces away into the penalty area, and Pickford is able to move out quickly to his right and take the ball.
I think he's right, make the subs, John. Dominating possession. Again, get the final third. Nothing.
Yeah. As the ball is played back by Stones, but Pickford was quick and was able, even though two Dutchmen were arriving, Pickford got there first, the England goalkeeper, and cleared it to the halfway line. Blint then goes for a long pass. It's let go by Memphis Depay to Wijnaldum, but Delph is there as well, doing important things at the moment. Fabian Delph. It's that sort of game for England now. Put in the challenge, and Pickford again long downfield, but over Kane. Van Dijk allows it to bounce, then plays it back to Cillessen. And Harry Kane continues his run, but Cillessen is able to go long to the halfway line. Chilwell heads it back to Sterling. A strong challenge comes in by Ligt on Sterling, and that's a free kick. Free kick to England out on the left-hand side, and another little error from Ligt. Right, we're going to see this double substitution, which is taking place now. So while they do that, we have reached the midway point of the second half here in Guimarães. And it's time for Ian Dennis to take you through to the end of the 90 minutes.
Thank you, John. Well, Ryan Babel then makes way. Quincy Promes has replaced him, and Martin de Roon, former Middlesbrough player, is the one who's come off for Donny van der Beek, player who really do like. He was outstanding in the first leg for Ajax against Tottenham Hotspur in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the first leg of that Champions League semi-final. So that's the double change that the Dutch have made. England still lead by 1-0. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. England have a free kick, left-hand side. Chilwell to take it into the penalty area. Stones with the header, and in the end it was well wide. Chris Sutton.
I'll tell you what, that's been England's biggest threat, set pieces. They've looked really dangerous. Good ball in, and again, it's a real chance. Stones gets up. Actually, it comes off Harry Kane in the end. Stones doesn't get enough on the first header. Another opportunity for England from a set play.
It was at this stage, on the 11th of July, in the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, that Croatia equalised in the World Cup semi-final last year. Perisic, after 68 minutes, to take us to extra time. Still could go either way, this one. England's lead is only a slender one, but Harry Kane is forward as his crossfield ball from the right-hand side, dealt with by Ligt. He tries to win it back, but he then catches Daley Blind, and to give away a free kick, and he's going to get a yellow card, Chris Waddle.
Well, he is, and he didn't need to cross the ball, by the way, when he runs away down that right wing. They try and give this defence and the midfield a little bit of a breather and keep a hold of the ball.
Yeah, that was clumsy, Kane. Really was. That was a poor challenge. Deserved the card.
This is Waddle and Sutton, who are with us here for BBC Radio 5 Live in Guimarães. Tomorrow the Women's World Cup starts. We'll be live on 5 Live every day in France. The opening game will be live tomorrow night. Vicky Sparks and Pat Nevin, France against South Korea. Then they'll make their way south for the England-Scotland game in Nice on Sunday afternoon. The way it stands, our schedule would be that game at 5 o'clock. And we'll be looking forward then to the UEFA Nations League final. England against the host nation, Portugal. Thanks to that Marcus Rashford penalty in the first half. However, the Dutch might still have something to say about that. They've only failed to score on one occasion in the last 17 matches. Although, that was actually against England, Ronald Koeman's first game, March 2018 in Amsterdam. The Dutch, bright orange shirts, white shorts, get the ball to Depay. Depay shoots, block comes in from Harry Maguire on the edge of the penalty area. The Netherlands are playing from right to left as we look. England, white shirts, navy shorts. By the way, the official attendance, 25,711. It holds 30,000.
You're not happy with that, are you? Once again, last night you were complaining about the attendance.
Last night they said it was 8,000 short in the Estadio Dragao. Didn't look that many empty seats. Certainly the England support must have 3/4 of the support here, England. As Bergwijn, left-hand side, up against Kyle Walker, dances in front of him, back inside. Promise gets the shot away, takes a deflection, and that could have gone anywhere. It's looped behind for a corner kick to the Netherlands.
You feel that's what it's going to take, a shot from distance for the Dutch. England camped on the edge of their own box, very difficult to play through. But Pickford, I'm not sure he would have got back. Promise effort there from, 22, 23 yards?
Corner kick then to the Netherlands on this near side. Depay is going to take it. Right-footed, good header away by Kyle Walker. Really did attack that on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it runs out of play for a throw on that far side. As we saw last night in Porto, when we brought you the first semi-final, the multi-ball system's in operation. The ball boys or the ball girls are very eager to throw the ball back to the players, and that one certainly came very quickly back to Dumfries in front of that St George's flag that says Somerset Rams on the far side on that right in the middle of the Dutch contingent, the tiny Dutch contingent of around 3,500. However, Chris Waddle, they are pressing now, the Dutch.
Listen, you've got to say they've been the better team over the course of the game, but England have only carried a threat from me in set pieces, and that's it. In general play, they have done nothing. I can't remember them putting 5 or 6 passes together.
Corner kick then to the Netherlands on that far side, the right. Depay once again to take it. It's an outswinger and the downward header by De Ligt. He's redeemed himself. The central defender who gave away the error that led to the Rashford penalty with a powerful downward header inside the near post. And we're back level, 1-1.
You've got to say, what a delivery. If Dunga is wrong, you've got to attack the ball, and De Ligt is. He gets away from his marker, gets that near post, and there's only one person could head that. Could Kyle Walker have done better? The man who's marking him's let him go. Stones tries to keep up with him, he can't, and it's a bullet of a header from what, 3-4 yards out at the near post. Pickford absolutely no chance.
Yes, John Stones who lets De Ligt go, but that was a devastating header. You can't keep a good man down. You have to credit him. He has had a nightmare this evening, De Ligt, up until now, but courageous with the finish. Really good header.
Well, they might be outnumbered, seriously outnumbered, but it's the Dutch support now who are cheering, although Sterling has just gone and knocked Van Dijk off the ball there. Van Dijk responds by barging him in the back. Sterling, I think, was looking for a free kick there.
That was great, wasn't it? Sterling, sharp as ever, nicks the ball off Van Dijk. Van Dijk saying, I'm not having that. And he just bulldozes him off the ball.
But just as we saw last night, another competitive second semi-final.
Been a very good game. I mean, England have been under, they just can't get the foot on the ball, England. And normally you say England dominating football matches, but tonight you've got to say the Dutch, who have come back on the scene, have been the better team.
The Champions League winning captain Jordan Henderson is going to be coming on for the final 16 minutes. It'll be England's third and final substitution, although should we go to extra time, both sides would be able to bring on a fourth. The Dutch have so far brought on De Roon and Van der Beek and Promise for De Roon and Babel. Here are the Dutch. Challenge from Delph, got the ball. Stones needed to get the ball as well because Depay might have had a side of goal. All of a sudden the game now has become open and England get the ball across towards the far side. Jesse Lingard. England playing from left to right. Lingard looking then towards Kane. De Ligt steps forward, loses the ball. Kane helped win it back. Lingard on the overlap. Chilwell far side to left. Down towards the corner flag. Chilwell's cross, and just coming across was the opposite number, Daley Blind, on the cover to head the ball away. England now are on the attack. Chilwell, though they had to concede the equaliser before they started to venture further forward into the Dutch half. Cries have come on England from this vast support that they have here in Guimarães. 1-1. Maguire. Rice going to come under a little bit of pressure, and it'll be an England throw as the sliding challenge, I think, was by De Jong, out of play for an England throw over on that far side. 14 minutes remaining.
They're just not as slick in the middle of the park. England. Rice getting caught then, but okay, bit of a response from England, but the Dutch have dominated this second half.
Henderson then about to join the fray. Mind you, last night, if you were listening to 5 Live Sport, we thought that extra time was looming. Well, indeed it was, until Cristiano Ronaldo had his say with 2 goals, as England look now for a finish at the other end, and it's Delph who gets the shot away. It's charged down, drops on the edge of the area, it's stabbed back, and the French referee blows his whistle, and the Netherlands have a free kick that they want to take quickly, but De Jong has taken it further forward from where the referee actually thought that the offence was committed.
It's strange, isn't it? Holland have equalised, and all of a sudden England now up the tempo. Why not do that before?
Yeah. Delph is the player to make way for Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson, who his 51st cap, the first England midfielder to reach 50 caps without any goals, when he reached that milestone.
Why not give him a leg up?
You're cruel, you. Just won the Champions League. He's just won the Champions League, isn't he?
Best week of his life.
It's 13 minutes remaining. De Jong out towards that far side. Certainly has this Nations League been really good concept. You think that every match has had something riding on it. I mean, you think the Dutch, when they actually qualified against Germany in Schalke, they were 2-0 down with about 5 minutes remaining and managed to get it back to 2-2. Here, a second goal could be a winner. Van der Beek might run near to Bergwijn. Bergwijn threads it through, far side. Dumfries with a low ball, blocked. Still the Dutch are threatening, and Donny van der Beek had a great opportunity, but off his left foot from about 8 yards out, he's blazed it over the bar.
Oh, Van der Beek off target. He's got to score. It's really well worked down the right-hand side from the Dutch. And the ball actually comes off Maguire as the cross goes in. It loops up. Van der Beek 8 yards out. The goal gaping, and he puts it over.
12 minutes remaining. He was composed when he scored against Tottenham in the first leg. Snatched at that, Chris Waddle.
Oh yeah, I mean it's come on him quick. He's had to react quick, but with his ability, you would fancy him to get it on the target.
England now are on the attack. Chilwell, left-hand side, infield. Barkley midway through the Dutch half. Jordan Henderson. Rice now of West Ham United, back to Jordan Henderson. Often the driving force in the midfield. He links up the play and then goes back towards John Stones. Declan Rice comes on the ball now in that centre circle, finds Jordan Henderson in a bit of space over the halfway line, right hand side. Lingard, challenge made by De Jong, back towards Lingard. Lingard gets away from De Jong infield. Lingard was taken out late. The referee plays the advantage in towards Harry Kane. Excellent challenge that was made there by De Ligt on Harry Kane.
Yeah, that was top defending. Really good sharp turn from Sterling on the edge of the box, who released Kane, and it looked like Kane would score, but De Ligt last-ditch tackle.
Both sides are going at it now. We're going to have a furious finish here in Guimarães, that is for sure, because as Jordan Pickford can't pick up the ball and then eventually clears it.
He could have. It come off Kyle Walker's knees, I think, so he could have picked it up. I don't know why he's not watching the game.
But it was fast and frenetic to start with, and we've gone back to that
goal,
stage.
He's not even watching.
There's no control again, is there? It's you attack, we attack. 1-1, BBC Radio 5 Live, just over 10 minutes remaining. Kyle Walker with the throw, gets it back from Lingard, controls it on this right touch line, down the line it goes. It'll be an England throw. De Jong isn't happy with the French referee. Ronald Koeman ushers his players back in their bright orange shirts to get back into position.
I think that ref's wearing a mask.
It's Turpin, not Turpin. Doesn't quite work.
Doesn't say how you say it. If you want English, would you say Turpin?
I thought with your Marseille connections, the French connection, you'd have got that one.
Yeah, I might have, but you're on about English people listening, so they're not going to say Turpin.
BBC Radio 5 Live, 1-1.
His first name's Dick as well.
Jordan Pickford, all in yellow, away to our left-hand side, left-footed, looking towards Chilwell. Interception comes from Quincy Promes on that far side. Now it's with Maguire, strokes it in field to Jordan Henderson. Henderson drops back a little bit, Kyle Walker. John Stones will bring the ball forward just outside the D of the England penalty area, carries it almost to the centre circle and finds Sterling. Sterling holds off the challenge of De Jong, then the ball wouldn't run through with him. Just as the words wouldn't run out of my mouth. Now Holland will come forward and Sterling helps win it back. Oh, free kick, I thought he got the ball.
Yeah, he's unlucky there. He just eases Wijnaldum off the ball, working hard back after his earlier error where he trod on the ball, but
they've taken that free kick quickly. Dumfries, Promise, back to Dumfries, and it'll run out of play for a goal kick.
I mean, Dumfries does a lot of great things, you know, he's a great athlete, but he's just distribution at times.
He just lacks a bit of composure. He's done it again. Declan Rice,
free kick.
Jordan Pickford takes it quickly, strokes it to this right side of the penalty area, about 6 yards up, and then Pickford will clear long up towards Harry Kane. Came on at half-time, beaten in the air by Van Dijk. Van der Beek. Bergwijn. Wijnaldum overruns it, runs straight in towards Declan Rice. Came off the arm, that of Harry Kane, I think. The referee says play on. De Jong finds Depay, now playing on the left-hand side, just lifts it forward. Blind infield, interception from Jordan Henderson for England to Kyle Walker. Still, though, is a strong pace to the game. There's been a lot of errors throughout the match. John Stones left it late before clearing. Came under pressure from Bergwijn, picked out Chilwell, head down, motors forward. The Leicester City left-back makes good ground. Little flick inside by Sterling was nice. Barkley for the return ball. This for England to win it! England with Jesse Lingard! 3 goals in his last 3 England games, and what a move that was by England! And with 7 minutes remaining, they're on course for their first final since 1966.
What a ball! What is the best part of football we've seen England play tonight? Some lovely interchanging passes, goal checks come on the screen, but that was an absolutely fabulous move. Got through them so easy, and a real calm finish.
VAR will check for the goal. They'll be checking for offside, as Lingard had made the run. Now,
I think he's very, very close.
Is Dumfries playing him on?
It's very tight. I think he's just on, but that move started from John Stones on his own byline, released Chilwell, driving run. What a little flick from Sterling back into Henderson. That was brilliant. And then the ball through to Lingard. He still had work to do, and he found the corner of the net, composed. He's had an iffy season, if we're honest, but he tucked that one away really confidently.
It would be 3-3 though for his England career. They're still checking for that potential offside. Now, last night we had VAR which came to the fore. Felix Brick, the German referee, went to the side of the pitch to have a look. I've got to say, it is a tight call, because as Lingard makes the run, I think it's Dumfries, the right back, who the question is he playing him onside or not? So, will England, through Monsieur Turpin, be robbed of the goal, Chris Waddle?
It's tight. It's taken a long time. A very long time. It's very close.
Wouldn't be quite daylight robbery, would it? Because it is tight.
No, well, also we're at night.
Offside.
The goal has been chalked off.
Well,
we're back at 1-1. The Lingard goal does not stand. It has been disallowed. And with 5 minutes remaining of normal time, we're back at 1-1.
That was so tight, but you can't argue with VAR. Had it been the other way round, England would be feeling that they were robbed. So there you go. VAR working, whether you like it or not.
When Liverpool played Porto in the Champions League, the managers of the 4 competing nations actually came to Porto for a VAR briefing from UEFA. As this now is with Blind, fires one in. They're appealing for handball. It's with Depay. Depay, cross comes in. Shot then this time from Bergwijn, and he scuffed it.
Oh,
they're appealing for handball. They've surrounded the referee. Now all of a sudden he will now come under pressure, and he'll be checking with the referee.
Yep.
We could have VAR now award the Dutch a penalty at the other end. Well, what a dramatic finish to this game.
City's arm, was it? Was it Chilwell slid?
Yes, Chilwell sliding. It's
well.
There
we go
down,
again.
Isn't it?
Does it hit the arm? Does it count? Is it?
The only thing is,
having this all the time.
UEFA have been consistent that if it hits the hand in the penalty area, we've seen it in Champions League games, they give a penalty.
Well,
yeah,
is his arm by his side though this time? Would that make it slightly different? Let's see here. It's pulled back. It hits him on the back, doesn't it?
His arm,
yeah.
does it?
Well, I tell you what, if that is given, that is extremely harsh, because it's gone behind him. And also, that isn't the laws of the game, that isn't deliberate handball. But at the minute, the way that UEFA make these decisions...
He's saying, isn't he? He's even saying, Chilwell's even telling the Dutch players, it's hit me back.
I think it's saying, I mean, it may well have hit his left arm, but it hits him on the back first.
Well,
there you go. Correct.
Common sense. No penalty. So VAR has made Two rulings now in a matter of minutes at either end of the field. That will of course be added on to the added on time here in Guimarães. Is Van der Beek with a turn and shot, and England will clear the ball through Rice.
We should just mention that horrendous miss from Bergwijn. I mean, that was a golden opportunity, wasn't it? 8 yards out, an easy finish, a wild swipe.
I tell you what, the Dutch though, they're a bit like Ajax, aren't they? They've just gone for it. They don't think, well, we're going to get picked off on the break. When Lingard scored, and very unlucky, but if he took a size 6, it would have been onside.
I think for the first time tonight, you can actually hear the Dutch support chants of Holland, Holland. Mind you, talk about chances, what about the Sancho header? That would have made it 2-0 to England. As it is, it's 1-1. BBC Radio 5 Live. Just over 2 minutes remain of normal time. There will be a lot of added on time, though. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least 6 minutes with the substitutions and then the delay for the VAR checks. Blind pokes the ball back. It'll come off Harry Kane. It'll be a throw for the Netherlands. Gareth Southgate wants England to push on out. I think he's thinking they're sitting too deep at the moment.
Yeah, they've been sitting deep all game. They've been forced back. Give Holland credit the way they've played.
This Dutch side having a resurgence under Ronald Koeman as Barkley, delightful ball with the outside of his right foot, curls it out towards Chilwell, motors forward, midway through the Dutch half on that far side, the left. England playing from left to right. Declan Rice finds Stones in the centre circle. Cries have come on England. Henderson back towards Stones once more. The orange shirts are back. Henderson unable to turn because of the presence of De Jong. Finds Maguire midway through the England half. And now here is Rice. Lets it come across his body. Finds Henderson in the centre circle. Short diagonal ball. Sterling central area. Had to release it because of the presence of De Ligt tight behind him. England being patient. Lingard makes a bit of a run down towards the left corner of the penalty area. The out ball is Chilwell, who joins the attack. Comes in field now, looking for Henderson on the edge of the area. Rice slides in. Good challenge as well. Kane with a first-time shot, just wide.
I don't think it was ever going in, and the goalkeeper scrambled across, lost his bearings a little bit, but it's not the cleanest straight we've seen Harry Kane, who's normally... Yeah, I think they keep at it covered.
I said there would be 6 minutes of additional time. We'll find out very, very soon. There will actually be 7 minutes of Netherlands 1, England 1. Back pass to Sillissen, all in green away towards our right-hand side. They play out from the back, do the Dutch, Wijnaldum. They're asking them to go long. With Van Dijk was telling De Ligt, just strike it long. Now it comes with the captain of the Netherlands. Oh, a little bit of pressure here for De Jong. Came under a lot of pressure on the edge of his area, but managed to clear the ball away. But even through that, didn't do Dumfries any favours on the right, and it's gone out for an England throw.
Well, I didn't think it was the worst pass, actually. I thought he resolved the situation pretty well. Under real pressure, he still found his man. It was Dumfries who slipped.
There's the electronic board telling you 7 minutes. I'll give you the lottery numbers later. 1-1. Are we to have a winner in extra time, or in added on time, or are we going to extra time for this crowd of just under 26,000 here in Guimarães? Dumfries lifts it long towards the halfway line. Depay tries to play it out towards Promise, and there'll be a free kick for England, surely just inside the Dutch half. Brought to the floor was Ross Barkley.
A few tail legs now, plays all on the hands on the knees, and
at times it's been quite chaotic, hasn't it?
It has, but there's going to be a chance somewhere. 7 minutes, 6 minutes, there's going to be a chance.
Chilwell to take the free kick. The Dutch have a high line to protect Sillissen, but Chilwell is going to go long with this free kick at the moment. Henderson is forward, Rice is up there, Stones and Maguire, but there's a line which must be about 25 yards out from the Dutch goal. Chilwell floats it in now, aimed towards Maguire, but the referee's blown his whistle.
How many times does Van Dijk do that? He does it well. I don't know if he gets touched, I think he just goes into somebody and hits the deck. That's 3 times I think he's had a free kick out of it.
Pumped long by Sillissen. Chilwell heads it forward. Maguire coming back into position. Stones with a back pass to Jordan Pickford. That was bobbling a little bit, wasn't it?
You wouldn't fancy that as a goalkeeper.
Walker heads it forward. Ligt, who got the equaliser, his strong header. Cushioned down by Maguire to Chilwell. Bit of space for Chilwell to run into over on that far side. Still those Swifts or Swallows swoop in front of our commentary position here. As the ball is played infield to Lingard, who thought that he'd won it. But it was ruled out, disallowed, VAR. Lingard now comes forward once more. Lingard, strong run. Lingard still going, tries to place it, and places it just wide off his right foot.
Well, he's played closer to Harry Kane. He hasn't stayed out wide like Sancho has, and he's just drifted. And it opens up really good shift to get away from De Jong on the left-hand side of the box. He's just trying to feed it into that far corner. It's well wide of the target in the end.
93rd minute, so 4 more minutes remain, a minimum of 4 more minutes. We could then have an additional 30 here on BBC Radio 5 live in Guimarães for the Nations League. And just as 11 months ago, England unable to hang on to the lead. That also, of course, as we know only too well, went to extra time against Croatia. Rice opens up his body along the ground, finds Stones. Walker's to his right. Lingard gets the ball short. Blint, former Manchester United player, of course, was tight behind the current United player. Now Maguire, edge of the centre circle, finds Stones. Henderson in close proximity. The England substitute now takes over. Walker's made the little run, tries to slide it on the inside of Promise, but it was cut out. Van der Beek now will take over. Blonde-haired midfielder for Ajax. Promise on this near side, the left, forward ball, looking for the run of Bergwijn. Maguire is there, Maguire's lost it, Bergwijn's escaped him, Bergwijn pulls it back, and Depay falling back with a wayward finish. And what another opportunity that was for the Dutch.
Oh, what is Harry Maguire thinking about? If you're going to block the ball off, make sure you do it. Look, he's a big stick, he's trying to be clever, he's running across into him. Oh, and he's just snatched at it, Depay, high and wide.
End to end, 3 minutes remain. Chilwell forward, the left back 25 yards out from goal. Lingard plays it back. Rice forward. Sterling back towards Rice. Henderson crying out for the ball. Left corner of the penalty area. Chilwell just behind him. Is he going to go on the overlap? Henderson with the cross. Raheem Sterling was there. Blint with the header away. Bounces inside the penalty area. And then the shot is eventually got away. They're appealing for handball as well. England on this occasion from the Lingard shot. The screen doesn't say that there's a VR check in progress. Play continues. Breathless finish to the game. 2 more minutes remain, 2.5 minutes. Is there going to be one more chance for England before extra time? Henderson, short and square. Rice gets it back from Barkley. Rice to John Stones. Every outfield player, bar Maguire, is in the Dutch half, away to our right-hand side. Lingard turns to Walker. Walker will go infield. And now this is with Barkley. Still England being quite patient. Under 2 minutes now remaining on BBC Radio 5 Live at normal time. Nations League second semi-final. Portugal away. Declan Rice into the centre circle to Stones. Kyle Walker's on the right-hand side is an option. Stones instead spreads it across to the other side. The far side, the left for Chilwell. Infield to Sterling, collects it deep. Lingard, central position. Back to Henderson. They're playing in front of Holland, though, England at the moment. Now Sterling makes the run out towards that left-hand side. Has a sight of goal. Goes for a curling effort. It might well have grazed the top of the crossbar. That was a very good effort from Raheem Sterling.
In a good couple of minutes for England. Patient build-up. Chilwell slides the ball to Sterling. He chops inside, and he bends it from just inside the box over Cillessen, and it just comes off the top of the bar to safety.
It kissed the top of the crossbar and into the England support, who have occupied so many areas of the ground of this stadium in Guimarães. Walker now at the other end with a back pass to Pickford. We're inside the last 40 seconds of the additional 7. It's 1-1 on 5 Live. Sterling can't play the ball in towards Harry Kane. Instead, the Netherlands up towards Depay. They lose it. Sterling wins it, holds his feet, then loses out towards De Jong. But the referee will give the free kick to England. Jordan Henderson wants to take it quickly. He wrestles the ball off De Jong, who's reluctant to do so. Like a bit of tug of war there. Now Henderson takes it quickly, out towards Chilwell. The hordes of England supporters urge England on for one final thrust. Chilwell, those overrun it, goal kick, and I reckon that's it for extra time.
I've got to say, England's trying to finish the strongest. They look the fittest. I've got to say, I know they've sat back most of the game, let Holland have the ball, but I've got to say, there's the final whistle.
There is the final whistle. So after 97 minutes, and certainly that was a dramatic conclusion to the regulation at the end of the second half, it's the Netherlands 1, England 1. England taking the lead through a Rashford penalty after 32 minutes. An error from Ligt, but his downward header 17 minutes from time, equalising, and then the Lingard goal after 83 minutes, disallowed after a check from VAR. Mark Chapman.
I know it was ruled out, but Chris Waddle, that was England's best move of the game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's great tempo about it, movement, good touch, everything you want from it. And as I said, if he took a couple of sizes smaller on his football boots, he would have been onside. So it's really close. It's a shame it was the best, as you say, best bit of football I saw from England. But they did finish very strong there, Mark. So that's positive for the extra time.
I mean, both sides did create clear-cut chances in that second half. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, they did, and you have to say that that as the second half was wearing on, the Dutch really started to dominate. I think the disappointment from Gareth Southgate's point of view will be set piece corner. Stone switched off, and Ligt, credit to him, horrendous mistake earlier on in the game for the England penalty, but it's a really good header. But no, I thought England finished strongly, so I'll be interested to see whether the Dutch are a spent force in extra time.
They did finish stronger, but there was about a 15-minute spell in that second half where they couldn't get the ball off the Dutch.
No, and it's this is the way the Dutch play, and we've talked about them over the years how good they've been, and they've lost their way. But this team, what Ronald Koeman's got back to that. The one thing they probably lack, let's be honest, is a top-class number 9. Over the years they had people like Van Basten and that. And, they haven't got Memphis Depay blames everybody, every coach he's had apart from himself, and he complicates his game. I think that's why he's not as effective as he thinks he should be. But if they had a good number 9, this side would be very hard to beat.
They missed some chances, the Dutch, in the second half. I suppose the issue for England will be that if they do start to control the possession, which they haven't done during that game, but they finished strongly the last 7 or 8 minutes. The Dutch do have that pace on the counter, don't they? Promise has come on, and he looks a threat. So I'll be interested. And Bergwijn has looked a real handful. 21 years old. We haven't really heard much about him, but he pickpocketed Harry Maguire near the touchline. Depay should have scored, actually. He looks a real player.
What would concern you about England going into extra time?
Well, I think that they actually, finished the game well. So I mean, that is a positive. The issue will be is in their hope of dominating the play and pushing the Dutch back. The Dutch do have that real raw pace on the break.
The Dutch like the ball, Mark. You see when England do go forward and they move the ball pretty well. When they have moved it well, they've cut through them quite easily. And I've got to say, if I was England, as many set pieces as you can get in this extra time, you've got a fair chance of scoring from them because they've looked threatening on every one.
It's 10-10 on Thursday, the 6th of June. I'm sure all these players are delighted it's going into extra time, aren't they?
What are you being like that for? This is a credible tournament, and this is the beauty of the Nations League. Me and Deno saw the game last night. Real intensity. You can listen to the atmosphere in the stadium. There's feeling here. England have the chance to get in a major final.
You don't think at the end of a long season they would rather not go into extra time?
Well, it's not. Well, of course they would. I mean, that's an obvious thing to say, but it's not showing. The players want to win these. Both sets of players. They're hungry to win this tie. The Nations League is a big deal.
Will says, I'm absolutely 100% saying this because it could cost England, but I've changed my mind on VAR. It's ruining the game. Nathan, I have to say I love VAR. Every game has an element of deal or no deal to it. Chris Waddle, which side of the fence are you on?
Well, it's in the game now, and I think referees need all the help they can get, because let's be honest, that would have been a goal, wouldn't it? If he didn't have VAR there, he would have given that as a goal. They even put the ball on the centre spot to kick off. So that's the way it works. And Holland got out of jail here. So, but it's going to be interesting now. I think you're seeing a lot of tired players out there.
I often wonder... Yeah, exactly, because they probably don't want extra time at the beginning of June.
Well, whoever wants extra time in the history of football, who would name a player who's wanted extra time?
85058 at 5 Live.
I'm still waiting.
I'm putting it out to the people, Chris. It's their show. Here's John Murray.
Right, extra time about to begin, and Ronald Koeman's made his third substitution. Bergwijn off, Chris. Taken Bergwijn off and brought on.
He's resting him for the final.
Davy Pröpper of Brighton and Hove Albion, just been relegated with Brighton. And he steps into this Nations League semi-final to play in midfield. So there'll be a little bit of a rejig for the Dutch after that. But Dutch having kicked off, England have got the ball back. And here's Lingard crossing from the right-hand side. But Van Dijk is under that, hoists it very high though, not even out of the penalty area. Lingard's got it back now on the right, drives it into the near post, but Sillesen's there securely to drop on it.
Positive start by England. When did Brighton get relegated, by the way?
Well done, good spot. Just checking to see if you were I was wondering, in actual fact, I wondered which of you would spot that first. Well done, Chris.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
I'm disappointed in Chris Sutton. That surprised me.
No, I didn't want to embarrass you.
Here's Pröpper. Didn't get relegated with Brighton, and he's got a free kick on the halfway line as the ball bounces out of play for this free kick that Pröpper will take. So Netherlands 1, England 1. And how has Koeman switched this? Van der Beek pushing a little bit further forward?
Yeah, well, that's his game, isn't it? He suits playing as a most advanced midfield player because he gets in the box very well.
Pröpper, the bearded Pröpper, gets back into his own half and then turns it back towards De Ligt, who was badly at fault. Bad mistake that led to the penalty, that led to Rashford opening the scoring, but De Ligt levelled things up with one of what's becoming his trademark headers. Absolutely powered it into the England net at the near post to make it 1-1. That was in the 73rd minute, and now here we are. Last year in Moscow, it went to extra time in England's semi-final. This year in Guimarães in northern Portugal, we're into extra time in England's semi-final. And De Ligt is playing the ball all the way back to goalkeeper Sillessen. Ball is passed out through the middle to De Jong, who has Barkley not far away from him. Now here's Blind on the left-hand side. Blind gets it back and then goes for a long left-footed ball down the left-hand side. This is for Promise to chase. What a pass that was from Daley Blind. Promise has to check back, but then plays it across right-footed, took a little deflection. Here's Dumfries on the edge of the box, chips it into the back post, and a crucial header away for England, for John Stones, who got up under severe pressure to head it away towards the corner flag on the right.
Do you know what? I don't think I've seen a better pass than that all season from Daley Blind down the left-hand side. Inch perfect. When the ball did come in, I think it was Stones who eventually got the header. Crucial header.
First period of extra time. Question time, extra time, by the way, will follow on 5 Live. It's due to be on at 10:15, but it'll be a little later than that with extra time. Here is the corner. Memphis Depay to the back post. Van Dijk heads it back across, and it's cleared off the line by Harry Kane, who is standing next to the post. Not quite right off the line, but cleared from the 6-yard box.
I don't get set pieces. England, when they're attacking, they win nearly every set piece. And when they're defending, that's what, 2-3 Holland's won quite easily.
Still 1-1. The Dutch have started extra time well, and here they are bringing it forward as De Jong is challenged near the edge of the penalty area. Stones doesn't like the award of the free kick and jabs a finger at De Jong, who ended up on the ground, but it's a free kick in a good position.
Well, sloppy Stones, actually. He takes the ball in and there's a poor pass, actually, and it hits De Jong in the mid-drift, and as the ball bounces, I do think De Jong makes a meal of that. But this is a good range. See, 23 yards out, left-hand side of the box. Depay.
Oh, he's definitely taken it, isn't he?
There are 2 of them there. He's there.
I bet you Depay takes it.
Yeah, and also Daley Blind is there as well, but certainly Memphis Depay has placed this down very meaningfully. He's had a number of chances. He's been quite wasteful actually tonight, Memphis Depay. But this is from an angle on the left-hand side. He takes 3 careful steps back. Just waiting for the referee. Referee Turpin is still giving instructions to the England wall, probably warning them about handball. And they're ready now. Referee's ready. This free kick. Memphis Depay, Blint runs over it. Memphis Depay curls it, and it's caught by Jordan Pickford. Hands above his head, and the ball stuck in his gloves.
To be fair, decent effort, middle of the goal, and you'd expect Jordan Pickford to save that. Took it very well, didn't he? 2 hands wrapped round it. Comfortable save for Jordan Pickford.
Netherlands 1, England 1. We're in the first period of extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live in this Nations League semi-final to play Portugal in Porto on Sunday night. If that's the case, you'll hear it on 5 Live. Sterling allows the ball to run to Kane. Now here's Barkley on the left-hand side. Barkley turns and plays it back towards Chilwell, and England go back towards the halfway line. If you haven't heard, if you don't know, there is actually also a third-place playoff in this tournament, and England would play Switzerland on Sunday afternoon back here, if they're in that. Barkley gets to his feet, and the ball runs away for Kane, who's able to keep possession. Give it to Henderson. Henderson and Kane both coming on as substitutes. Kane at half-time. In normal time, Henderson during the second half, the Champions League winning captain. Now back to Rice on the halfway line. 5 minutes played in extra time. Still 1-1. Both managers can still make one more substitution, remember, now that we're into extra time. And I see that Danny Rose is just returning to the dugout to our right, as Harry Maguire finds Barkley, only 10 yards away from him. Wijnaldum putting pressure on Barkley, but Maguire quickly moves it across to Stones. Stones on the edge of the penalty area, who's lost it. Memphis Depay, what a save from Pickford. Ball runs free, and it is turned into the net by Promise. What a nightmare goal for England to concede in extra time in the semi-final. John Stones caught in possession on the edge of the area, and even though Pickford made a fine save, Promise got there first and was able to deflect it, bouncing into the back of the England net, and the Netherlands lead England by 2-1.
It's just sloppy play, isn't it? It's a bit slow. It goes back to him. There's a flick there from Barkley, and then Stones just dawdles on it. He's looking and looking. Just give it back to Pickford. And Memphis Depay should score for me. It's a great save by Pickford, and it's good fortune. In fact, that might even be an own goal. What is John Stones thinking? It's a great save by Pickford, and I could think that could definitely be an own goal by Kyle Walker.
It is an own goal, I think, from Kyle Walker, but it's so sloppy from John Stones. He actually turns into Depay and allows him to get a nibble, and then Pickford does unbelievably well to palm it out. And England may be slightly unfortunate, but that was horrific.
It's decisions, Chris, isn't it? When to put your foot through it, when not. The best centre-halves in the world, the best players at centre-half, wherever you want to talk about, they know.
Again. Stones has just given it away to Van der Beek. Now Promise on the left-hand side. Promise still going into the box. Henderson's gone with him, and Henderson's blocked it behind.
Well, he had one a couple of minutes earlier, didn't he, where he gave away the free kick.
England have been dicing with that sort of thing all night.
Yeah, but you know, you talk about great defenders over the years. When I was people like Baresi and that, they knew when to let the ball go and when you could pass it and play.
But what can he gain from taking the extra touch?
Just give it back to the goalie, though. Just give him it back early.
Netherlands leading England by 2-1. In the semi-final in Moscow, Mandžukic's goal came somewhat later, so there's still time for England to respond, but here's the corner for the Dutch. It's taken deep. De Ligt is there again to head it across, and then a diving header saved by Pickford on the line. Deflected away.
Well, it's Depay again, isn't it? Header, great header down, and Depay gambles on it and heads it straight. But what a reaction save from Pickford. He doesn't really know a lot about it. He throws his left arm at it, and it goes up in the air for another corner.
So that has been confirmed by UEFA as a Walker own goal that put the Dutch 2-1 up. So here's the second consecutive Dutch corner. De Ligt caused real problems from the last one. This time it's Van Dijk with a header, and that's cleared away by Harry Kane. Might have been going wide anyway. He was standing next to the post. England under severe pressure here. The Dutch going for a third goal that could very probably win them a place in the final, and now they've got a free kick on the far side after a challenge by Lingard.
Well, I thought England looked the strongest finish in the game, didn't they? They looked as if the legs have gone, and the Dutch now got the tails up. Every ball that comes in the box, they win. They win every ball in the box.
How can, as like Chris said earlier, how can England be such a threat with their own set pieces, and every time the ball goes into the England box, they don't win the first header?
I just wonder if they go zonal. I'm not a fan of zonal. I think you should mark somebody, especially when they're good in the air, like the two Dutch centre-halves though.
This free kick is a little bit like a corner. It's going to be taken from the England right full-back position in front of that two-tier stand, which is packed with England supporters, fearing that they're going to watch their team lose in another semi-final. Free kick. Dutch lead 2-1. Memphis Depay is going to drive this in low to the near post, and Pickford went through a crowd of players, but he was able to go down onto one knee.
Go on, send it.
Now races the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Pickford sprints there and then delivers it downfield towards Sterling, but De Jong was underneath it. England will come again, but Sterling's in an offside position, runs through into the box, still going Sterling. He's barged over, and then eventually the offside flag comes.
Why don't they just put the flag up straight away?
Because they're told not to.
I know, but why don't they just stick it up? Why don't they get told off later? Just don't listen to what they're told. Just stick the flag up, and if somebody has a go at you after, fine.
That was far enough for the flag to go up. I do think that everybody in the stadium knew that Raheem Sterling was offside.
The goal, by the way, that second Dutch goal, as it came across, it was a very good save by Pickford, actually. It did so well, full length, right arm, pushed it out, but all he could do was push it out. Promise was arriving, Walker was arriving, and Promise actually shot into the outstretched foot of Walker, which took it into the net. Pickford has to scramble here to keep the ball in. I think that might be another corner to the Dutch. I'm not sure Pickford did get there before the ball was cleared.
In his give, isn't he?
It is a
corner.
It is a corner, yeah.
There'll be no rush to take this.
England under pressure now. We've played 101
it's a throw-in, John.
minutes, so it is a throw-in. Right, throw-in near the corner flag.
And Brighton didn't get relegated.
Yeah, good. I'm pleased we've clarified that. Here's Memphis Depay. Finds its way back to De Jong. De Jong now drops his shoulder and then plays it back towards Pröpa. And the Dutch will go back into their own half, and De Ligt will see it to the feet of Cillessen. Long and left-footed it goes from the Dutch goalkeeper, who'll be leaving Barcelona this summer. Walker to the halfway line. Henderson just hikes it, looking for Lingard, but it was beyond Jesse Lingard and out for a throw-in. Seen some drama, haven't we? VAR at the heart of it. We thought that England had scored what would have been a terrific goal, actually. An extremely well-worked goal. Lovely flick by Sterling. Lovely ball through from Barkley. Well finished by Lingard. But he was VAR proved. He was offside. Took a long time. That would have been 2-1 England. It stayed 1-1. And then in the first period of extra time, that goal following the mistake by John Stones, and the Dutch lead 2-1.
They've got to put pressure. England's got to go for it. Just go and press them, go and rush them, see what happens. You may get a reward, but don't let the Dutch dominate the ball.
England lost 2-1 after extra time against Croatia in Moscow last July. They're 2-1 down to the Netherlands in extra time here in Gimmerange. Henderson turns just inside his own half. De Jong is closing him down, but Henderson still goes out to the right-hand side, chips it up to Kane. Kane heads it back. Now Lingard. Lingard passed it behind Henderson, though, and it's out for a throw into the Dutch, 10 yards inside their own territory.
They don't need to force it, though, England. They need to make a few passes. It wasn't the best ball from Henderson into Kane, but it was poor from Lingard, a blind pass.
Throw-in taken, but England have got possession back. Lingard, again, pass to Barkley, that bounces away from him, and the Dutch have got it back. Blind now through to Van der Beek. Van der Beek then out to the left-hand side. That's where the challenge comes in. Good challenge.
I just think they've got up the tempo a bit and asked a few questions, because the pace of the game suits the Dutch. They're good in possession. They've been dominant all night with the ball. England's got to start trying to ask some questions. I know they're a bit tired, a lot of the players, but they've got to ask some more questions.
A tired piece of play by the Dutch. Blint's throw, looking for Memphis Depay, straight past him and out for a goal kick. Well, we are now in the final minute of the first 15 of extra time. The Dutch leading England by 2-1. Question time, extra time will follow on 5 Live once this match here in Guimarães is all over. And at the moment it will be the Dutch who will play Portugal in the final on Sunday night, and it will be England-Switzerland on Sunday afternoon back here in Guimarães.
And they're all singing the Dutch always look on the bright side of life.
And Harry Maguire now to Chilwell. Final seconds of this first period of extra time. It's going to come late for England. Barkley allows it to run, but it just runs harmlessly through to Cillessen, who will eventually pick up as Harry Kane makes a move into the penalty area. Goalkeeper bouncing the ball. Referee Turpin might well blow the whistle once it's in the air, but in fact Cillessen gives it out, bowls it out to Blind, and there is the whistle for the end of the first period of extra time. Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton.
Well, we've got one substitution left, haven't we? So do you bring on Callum Wilson or Dele Alli trying to create something, or do you bring on Callum Wilson and go 2 up top? You've got to ask something. 15 minutes to go or you're out.
Yeah, he has to go for it. I mean, there's, end up losing 3-4-1. It doesn't matter. There has to be a change. I'm sure Gareth will be considering that. England really impotent in that first half in extra time. Didn't have a shot on target. Didn't have a shot on goal.
I think Dele Alli is going to come on because we can see him in his white shirt with the red number 20 on the back. So the players just getting some more words from the two managers. And it is Netherlands 2, England 1 after the first period of extra time.
I wonder if the Dutch might bring on someone like Strootman to sit in midfield, but they'll probably be happy the way the game's gone. It's just how many players are tired.
I wonder if Mark's coming in from the studio.
Yes, sorry, I was.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, sorry, I was just replying to a text from Graham Potter, who was a bit worried that he joined a championship club.
Very good. Well, when I asked that question, shall we bring in Mark? Let's say no. Take him away.
Not only the players who are wishing it wasn't extra time, I would imagine. If John Stones plays that way, do you have to accept that every now and then there will be an error, Chris Sutton?
No, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was, as Chris Waddle said, poor decision-making. I don't see what he had to gain from taking the extra touches. Take a touch, pass it back to the goalkeeper, move. I mean, he actually turned back into Depay. It was...
And it's not the first time this evening that he's got himself in a bit of a mess either.
No, it's true. He's been one of them games tonight where concentration levels have been poor from him. And as I say, it's all about decisions. You can't blame Gareth Southgate for that, because he'll say before the game, if there's any risk, put your foot through it, give it to the goalie early. He'll not be saying do what he was doing. That's down to decision making by the player himself.
Ian Dennis, all yours.
Dele Alli has come onto the field of play. He has replaced Declan Rice. It's the fourth and final change. Interesting there, watching the dynamic of the group as they had liquid refreshment on board during that break for the extra time. John Stones stayed on the periphery, and just before Gareth Southgate was to address his players, he went and grabbed him round the neck, brought him into the group and had a word. And I'm not very good at lip reading, but certainly he was saying there's one go, give it a go. And that's what England have got to do now in these next 15 minutes, because they trail the Netherlands by 2-1 in this semi-final of the Nations League. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, and England in their white shirts and navy shorts are playing from left to right, so they're attacking that two-tiered stand, that steep two-tiered stand full of England supporters who, 7 minutes from the end of normal time, had wild celebrations thinking that Jesse Lingard's goal had maybe won it late. Van der Beek, that was a late challenge, needless from Van der Beek. That'll be a yellow card surely for the Ajax player on Ross Barkley. However, as it was ruled out from VAR, and then that error by John Stones, very, very costly.
They've got a chance to load this in. Maguire and Stones have gone forward. The free kick on the halfway line. Pickford taking it.
Jordan Pickford then, all in yellow, just inside the England half. Ronald Koeman is sat down in the dugout. Gareth Southgate with his navy sweater, arms folded, watching on, standing up in his technical area. Pickford, left-footed, gets plenty of elevation, Maguire tries to get underneath it. Drop down header from Van Dijk. And now it's with Blint, the left back, plays the ball forward, looking towards Depay, but Kyle Walker in the foot chase will see it back towards Jordan Pickford.
Depay, a great ball, but Depay ain't got the legs, has he? I thought he was going to get a bit of cramp there. He's jogging back now.
England trail after leading by a goal to nil. A repeat of what had happened in the World Cup semi-final 11 months ago. Henderson exchanges passes with Barkley. Henderson now runs forward, drifting out towards the left. Chilwell midway through the Dutch half to Dele Alli, the substitute. Ali finds his Tottenham teammate Harry Kane. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Back with Kane. Can he get it out from underneath his feet? Harry Kane goes to ground. Challenge comes in from Ligt. Behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, link up from the two Tottenham men. Kane then shifts it. Looks as if he's got past Ligt, but Ligt, strong as ever, and goes behind. Can England create something? This is where they've looked really dangerous from their own set pieces.
So it's a corner kick to England, far side the left. Everybody centred around that penalty area away towards our right-hand side. Chilwell with the delivery. They're trying to keep an eye on Maguire. He's making a run towards... Oh, it was a poor ball in. Hardly any elevation at all.
I don't understand. I watched Wijnaldum's picking Maguire up. I just don't get that at all.
Wouldn't have mattered who picked it up there, was it, with that delivery. It was disappointing. Kyle Walker now to John Stones. Stones on the halfway line, plays a diagonal ball to Jordan Henderson. Pressure from De Jong on Henderson, he has to go back to Kyle Walker. England a little ponderous there on the ball, then it's Stones to Sterling on this near side the right. Blint following him from his left back role. Now with Barkley. Sterling now in a central area. Sterling, challenge was a good one by De Jong. Well-timed challenge. Wijnaldum goes back, hasn't done Blint any favours there. Blint though will keep the ball in play. Lingard will run towards him. Blint turns. Proper with a chest off there, the Brighton player. And again, Holland playing through the midfield. Van der Beek, good ball forward. Wijnaldum cuts on the inside of Walker. Waits for some support. Actually comes in the shape of Van der Beek, left corner of the penalty area. Not happy just to sit back. They'll get forward at every opportunity, the Dutch.
Yeah, they've looked after the ball far better than England, the Dutch. Slick again.
The Olays now from the 3,500 to 4,000 Dutch supporters inside this stadium as free kick for the Netherlands.
They are technically better than England. You can't, whatever we say, England's a very good side. They've proved that over the last year, but you've got to say the Dutch have been the better side tonight, by far, by the way.
Well, that's reflected in the efforts on goal as well. 11 that the Dutch have had on target to England's 3, as the Netherlands lead by 2-1. There was a touch of cramp there for Ross Barkley.
And then De Jong, who's just got up, hasn't put a foot wrong, De Jong.
Krupa goes long with a free kick. Walker beats Van der Beek in the air. Cushions the header back to Jordan Pickford, just rolls it out softly to the feet of Maguire, just to the side of him. Maguire's able to carry the ball over the halfway line now, finds Dele Alli running forward. Alli to the edge of the area. Chilwell on the left-hand side comes in now, doubled up on him, and he runs straight into it. Ronald Koeman's waving his right hand at the minute. They're going to make another change. Flag stays down. Depay is in here. Depay looks up. Wijnaldum was making the run through into the penalty area.
Well, he ran from his own half, Depay, and John Stones is trying to play him offside. Really lazy defending from John Stones. A massive gamble, and nearly made to pay for it.
Dutch have got one more substitution to make. They've only used 3. You can have an extra one in extra time. Might be Kevin Strootman who's going to be coming on. England yet to fashion an opportunity in this second period. 9 minutes remain. Kyle Walker. Stones badly at fault for the goal that gives the Dutch the 2-1 lead. Maguire comes forward now, central position, midway through the Netherlands half, out to Kyle Walker on the right hand side. Walker's curling ball in. Harry Kane looks to go and meet it, and a foul on De Ligt by Harry Kane.
Well, good ball in. That's what you got to do. Got to ask some questions. They just carry that threat, the Dutch, don't they? When they break, they use the ball ever so well.
Chilwell's got forward quite a lot down the left-hand side. Yeah. Kyle Walker not so much on this near side.
Well, I mean, I'm watching him. When the ball goes in the centre circle, if you've got Kyle Walker's pace, he would take off against Daley Blind and run and ask for that ball in the gap over the top, but he's not. He wants it to feet all the time.
Ronald Koeman's complaining because they want to make that substitution. The UEFA official down below is getting it in the net. Play resumes. The Netherlands still lead by 2-1, and we have 8 minutes remaining of extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live. It will be followed by question time, extra time, that has been delayed because of the football here in Guimarães, and England will be heading back here on Sunday. And you think that a third, fourth place playoff doesn't get much interest in the World Cup. I wonder what it'll do for the Nations League.
Not get any interest.
Maguire. Portugal will be delighted, though, that they've their opponents for the final have gone into extra time, bearing in mind that they played last night. Walker, rusty ball forward, intercepted by Blint. Depay for Wijnaldum. His energy levels are terrific, aren't they? Gini Wijnaldum, barged over by Walker.
How is that not a foul? That's ridiculous from the referee.
Where is he? He's disappeared. Oh, yeah, he is. I thought he went in the crowd.
It's a foot race, left-hand channel. Wijnaldum's in front of Walker. Walker can't win the ball, and he just barges him over. Ridiculous refereeing.
Ronald Koeman patrolling his technical area, and Frenkie de Jong is the player who comes off. Kevin Strootman comes on. Plays at Chris's former club now, Marseille.
They're trying to send him out on loan.
Oh, that was another poor ball by Stones. John Stones culpable again and punished as the Dutch increase their lead, and they're going through to the final by 3-1. Stones to Ross Barkley didn't do him any favours whatsoever, and the Dutch then just picked the pockets of England. 3-1.
Well, what are you doing, John Stones? Multiple mistakes this evening. I don't blame Ross Barkley. I think it's a ridiculous pass to make. Walker throws the ball back to Stones, and he plays a softball into Barkley, who gets caught out. It's a poor pass from Barkley as well, isn't it? But he's under pressure, but Depay has the awareness just to pop the ball into Promise, and he couldn't miss that. An open goal, 6 yards out, cushion volley, roof of the net, and it's the Dutch who are going to go through to the Nations League final.
Bad decision by Stones, but Barkley, you've got to say, loose pass, bad contact on it. And Depay could have put it in himself. Pickford gambled on the cross. It was an open goal.
But the pass was never on, was it, to Barkley?
No, well, it's all about decisions. That's the difference.
Well, John Stones has had a nightmare. Culpable there, and the England supporters are heading for the exits in their droves. They trail now, England, by 3-1 with 5 minutes remaining in extra time. And it's the Dutch supporters who you might be able to hear always look on the bright side of life. Promise then with that third goal. They had talks about maybe 23,000 coming out had England reached the final. Well, that won't happen now.
There'll probably be about 23.
There might be a few more Dutch, though, arriving in Porto ahead of Sunday's final against the Portuguese. Barkley. England didn't really look like scoring at 2-1 down, let alone when the 3-1 down. If anything, the Dutch might add further goals here. Ball played up towards Depay. Depay gets there, and with an audacious effort on the run, with a chip of his right foot against John Stones. He was struggling to run, yet he still beat Stones to the ball.
You say it was an audacious effort. I think he just cramped up and thought, I'd better shoot from 25 yards.
4 minutes remain. Deflating experience for England. Harsh realities of international football. Cannot make the mistakes that England have made. because you will be punished, and that has certainly been the case this evening. Henderson to Sterling. Quite a quiet night as Sterling now will cut inside. Lingard to Harry Kane. Harry Kane, is he able to turn on the edge of the area? He finds Dele Alli. Chilwell just behind him inside the penalty area, pulls it back to Barkley. Barkley to Kane. Kane's shot takes a deflection, loops behind for a corner kick as the Dutch lead 3-1.
Well, not bad attack there, moving the ball pretty well. It was always Harry Kane was going to pull the trigger. As soon as he got it with his feet inside the D, deflection, corner.
A lot of empty seats now in the areas that have been so heavily populated by England supporters. Trailing 3-1. Gareth Southgate watching on. Corner kick, Chilwell floats it over. Van Dijk beats everybody to the ball in the air, comes out to his Liverpool teammate Henderson, lifts it back in and drops out of play for a goal kick.
It wasn't the best ball back in from Jordan Henderson, but the third goal, another unforced error from England. It's game over, isn't it?
It is.
No way back now. Just watching it again, it was poor from Barkley, but I tell you, I don't know what John Stones is thinking, playing that ball into him. And Promise, his heart must have just skipped a beat there as the ball goes into the roof of the net. He nearly missed it.
Here is Van der Beek driving forward, trying to thread it through to Depay, comes out to Van der Beek, he has the shot blocked. Promise does a step over. Promise now into the penalty area. Can he turn? England certainly wouldn't want to concede a fourth. It would be a damaging defeat, that, after they've made a lot of progress over the last 11 months, but maybe a reality check here against the resurgent Netherlands side as Sterling runs into Van Dijk, and that'll be a free kick to the Netherlands inside the centre circle.
Well, all eyes are coming now from the Dutch fans, and you've got to say, listen, I know John Stones has had a bit of a nightmare and whatever goes with it, but the Dutch overall have been the best side, let's be honest. They're really far ahead of England, I think.
Yeah, if you were to focus on the John Stones mistakes, that would just mask the actual overall performance, wouldn't it?
But what it does tell you, at this level, you know, you can't afford to concede goals in the manner that England have this evening.
We're about to enter the last 60 seconds of extra time. Still the Olays from the small contingent of those decked out in orange. Tell you what, the future for the Dutch does look definitely bright. Van der Beek. Oh, this is lovely football now by the Netherlands. Depay just behind Daley Blind. Will keep the ball in play. Willie just about presents it to Lingard, pulls him back, and that'll be a free kick. But I doubt there'll be much to be added on. The Netherlands 3, England 1. It's the same scoreline as last night, as Portugal, without the need of extra time, beating Switzerland. So they will compete in the inaugural Nations League final against the Netherlands, and the third, fourth place playoff will be England against Switzerland on Sunday afternoon, before we bring you England-Scotland in Group D, the opening game of the Women's World Cup, which gets underway tomorrow. The Gareth Southgate, you will hear his thoughts on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast. There will be further reflections as well from the England camp, as Depay could be in here, but the ball will run through to Pickford. Good job as well, because I think he was onside. 1 minute of additional time, of extra time. It will not make any difference whatsoever, because England haven't been able to summon up the energy to give it that one final go that Gareth Southgate had urged from his players in the interval and extra time. Jordan Henderson coming on as a substitute, 13 minutes from the end of normal time. Maguire forward, but his pass is astray, and England look a very, very dejected outfit.
Listen, playing 20 minutes just over, and you can't really say England have played well. They've probably had one or maybe two good moves in the whole game. You know, they've been beaten by a better side, simple as that. And we've got still we might think we've cracked it for a bit. We had a good year, but we've got still a lot to learn.
Well, the additional time is all but up, and there indeed is the final whistle, and the Netherlands have beaten England by 3-1, and it's another semi-final setback for England, as the Dutch will meet Portugal in Sunday's final. Netherlands 3, England 1, after Marcus Rashford had given England the lead with a Penalty kick after 32 minutes, somewhat against the run of play. Ligt, who was at fault there, redeemed himself with a powerful downward header after 73 minutes. Lingard thought that he might have won it to put England back in front, but it was disallowed after VAR. We went into extra time, and then John Stones at fault for the next two Dutch goals, which were scored, well, a Kyle Walker own goal after 97 minutes, and then Promise 6 minutes from the end. Netherlands 3, England 1. Mark.
Ian, for the moment, thank you. Chris Sutton, Chris Waddle are with us. John Murray as well before he goes down to the till. It'll be interesting, John, to hear what Gareth Southgate says to you in a little while, because whilst the Dutch were the better team over the 120 minutes, it was individual errors that cost England.
Yeah, I would expect him to say very much along the lines of what the two Chris's have been saying to us. And, he wants better than that from his England team. And I think that he will be... I think he will be quite blunt about that. That's what I would expect him to do. So, mistakes like the ones that his players have made here tonight, the defensive mistakes, you simply can't cover them up, can you?
You can't, and we'll find out what Gareth says to John very shortly when John interviews him in the tunnel in Portugal. Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton. Let me start with you, Chris Sutton. If when we watched the Champions League final last Saturday night, and there was a lot of talk about 3 weeks since they last played, and that excuses the quality of the game and so on and so forth, can you use the same...
We're just in a different league than England tonight. They were slick, they passed the ball with a purpose, they passed the ball better than England, and there was a rather large goal.
There was a loss.
I got there in the end. But no, I thought the Dutch were much the better team. Look, there'll be questions asked, did Gareth pick the right side? Should he have picked Jordan Henderson? Should he have picked Harry Kane? If I'm being honest, I don't think it would have made much of a difference tonight, whoever he picked. I just thought the Dutch were far better. They were more potent, they had the better chances. England were a threat from set pieces. Take that away, didn't really create enough. But the disappointment will come from the fact that the errors by, I thought, John Stones for the last two goals. I know Barkley, it was a poor pass from him, but I really don't know what he was thinking. And we can't blame fatigue, or John Stones can't blame fatigue. He's not been a regular at Manchester City all season.
No, therefore I wasn't saying fatigue, I was saying ring rusty.
Yeah, but the Dutch players weren't ring rusty, were they? So it was the same break. Koeman decided to play Wijnaldum and Van Dijk. It worked for him. But we all watched the game. The Dutch were dominant. They passed the ball really well through midfield. England didn't. They were off the pace. So England can't use that as an excuse that that they've had a break, and some of the players from the Champions League final. Gareth had the option to pick them. He didn't. Well, do I understand it? I don't agree with it, but I understand the logic with it. But they were beaten by a far better team tonight. Simple as that.
Chris Waddle, what are your overall thoughts then?
I think if you actually look at it, the midfield didn't happen. Rice does a job sitting there, but if you look at the difference of how Holland play, De Jong, how many times was he on the ball tonight, getting the ball off the back four, getting it in areas where most players will not want it at all. He got it, he manipulated the ball very well, he started the play off for them all the time. We didn't have that. You've got Delphin there, who's an honest player, decent left foot, grabs, but it's not going to create anything. Barkley tried to create things at times, but he was on his own, and this is where it really fell down. If you're going to play football, everybody's got to want it, you've got to go and enjoy it. And you look at the Dutch players when they get the ball, they all look really comfortable, and they'll have it in areas, and if it's not on, we take our time, we'll go back again, start again. And we're a young... England are a young side, and hopefully they've got to learn. But if you want to play at this level of football, as a midfield player, you've got to get the ball. That's your strategy. If you're going direct and picking second balls up, getting it away, getting in the box, that's a different style of play. The way Gareth wants to play, is you can say probably like the Dutch.
Are you worried with England's midfield when you think of the options who are to come in? Eric Dyer, he's had a dreadful season.
No, you got Dele Alli, who's got a bad season in a way. So you would think a fit Dele Alli would make a difference with the ball, but I just don't think enough players with England on the ball are tackling. Yeah, I'd definitely look at Winks. Definitely, I think he gets on the ball, looks after it. He'll go and get it off everywhere, and he'll have it in areas where a lot of these players tonight did not want it. When they went that back four, you look at the midfield, how many times they were looking at the ball as if to say, give us it. None. They were all half short, half turned, looking to say, miss me out, go further forward, go to one of the wingers. And we never dominated the ball. So people like Sterling, Sancho couldn't get in the game. They couldn't get the ball. They just ended up chasing, defending, maybe the odd counter-attack. So this is the area.
But then, Chris, the interesting point on that then is, didn't Ross Barkley make himself available for what ultimately was the error that led to the Dutch's third? But Stones tried to find Barkley, who made himself available, and then...
Well, listen, in a way, you can say... it was a decision which the Dutch would have played the same ball, by the way, and De Jong would have come onto that. Barkley's had a bad, terrible contact on the ball and it's given it away, and it's a mistake. Stones makes mistakes.
I didn't think there was enough pace on the ball, really.
Maybe he's not.
Anyway,
maybe he's not, but he should have, it's all about decisions. And it doesn't matter who's your manager. You can't blame your manager for a ball like that. It's your decision. John Stones just thought, I'm going to give it to Ross Barkley in there, and he's miskicked it, but he shouldn't have given it in the first place. Why didn't he miss him out? But I just think the difference, you've got a young kid playing in midfield for Holland who would have the ball everywhere, and at times when the goalie was rolling it through the gap to him and England were closing him down and there wasn't really a lot of options on, he'll stop it, he moves it, he turns, he swivels, he comes back. So much confidence, so much technique, and it's all right saying he does a good job defensively and he does this and he does that. If you're going to play a certain style of football like England want to play, you've got to have everybody who wants the ball in tight areas and comfortable on it. If they're not, this is what we saw tonight will happen on many times when you play a good side.
So has Gareth Southgate been too loyal to Eric Dyer then?
Yeah, definitely. Harry Winks should have been here. He played in out on the thingy. He brought Harry Kane here, who played 90 minutes. So he played 25 minutes or 30 minutes more than Harry Winks, and he'd been out a long time like Harry Winks. Why is he not here?
Just
Eric Dyer played in the last game of the season for Spurs. Harry Winks was out from April the 9th, I think I'm right in saying. He was at the same time as Harry Kane. Yet Mauricio Pochettino put him ahead of Eric Dyer in the Champions League final.
If he started tonight, it's gone extra time. Yeah, he might have been able to last 90 minutes, or he might have left whatever. But he would have done a lot better in that position than what was on the show tonight.
So what would you have in England midfield three of? Rice, Winks and Barkley? Winks, Henderson and Barkley?
Yes. Well, yes, or Barkley or Ali, whoever's performing well at the time.
Because the interesting thing on showing for the ball and all of that, and Ian, you did the commentary, I think, in the first half of this. There was a moment where Barkley, again near his own area, but nearer the touchline, got himself out of a real mess, actually, with three men round him, and then clipped a great ball out to Kyle Walker. So he does show for the ball off the back four.
Yeah, and I think we've seen Jordan Henderson of late for England start to play a different role, haven't we, where he starts to get sometimes a little bit further forward. Yeah. But I think what we saw in Rijeka when they played behind closed doors against Croatia, that Jordan Henderson is that driving force. He's very, very vocal. He'll organise in the middle of the park. So I think you do need Jordan Henderson there as well. But Barkley, I think, has done well of late for England.
I think Barkley's getting better. I think he needs game time. Unfortunately, never seems to get a run in a side, whether it be Chelsea or whatever. It's sort of you one game, two, you're out. And he needs a run. He needs to play football. And that is the key. All these Dutch players play football. Every week they play football. They're playing. They've had a great run at Ajax, and look at the confidence they've got, the Ajax players. And this is what you need to play. Go and play football, and you get into it. Declan Rice has played a lot of football, but this was probably one of his hardest games he's come across against a team where you think, wow, it's all right me sitting in front of the back four, but I can't get near anybody, and I'm not getting the ball off the centre-halves, because as soon as I get it, they're pressurising us, and he doesn't want it there. You've got to have the player who wants the ball off the back. If you're going to play that style, if not, try and hit Harry Kane and get the seconds.
It'll be interesting to hear from Gareth Southgate, because in the past he's always said he would never castigate one of his players if they make a mistake trying to play football. John Stones tonight was at fault for two of the goals. The thing is, if you make a mistake, you've then got to learn from it and learn quickly at this level, haven't you?
Yeah, but you've had this for years with John Stones.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it looked for like a while he'd got rid of it. You know, you think, I can't really remember his last mistake. But then again, tonight it's crept back into his game. And that's decision making. They don't blame Gareth Southgate for that. People might say you shouldn't pick him. No, he's done all right for him in the past. So I just think his decision making, he's got to learn when that ball has got to go and clear the deck, clear it. And that's the decision.
But it's not just as well learning at that end of the field. If Jadon Sancho buries that header, England are 2-0 up, they'd probably go through to the final.
But that's a chance here, and that's just a chance for
I know they didn't deserve to go through because they didn't match the high standards that they've set.
You think the chances the Dutch missed?
Yeah.
I take your point. It would have been 2-0 had Sancho scored the header. But I mean, John Stones has only got himself to blame. It was really poor decision making, and that's what cost England.
Okay. And I know I'm labouring this point, but he hasn't played for a month.
But why are we making this point? Because the Dutch players have had the same amount of time off as the English players. It's an easy excuse to make. John Stones hasn't played enough. You can have the argument: has he played enough football? Does Pep really rely on him in the big games? Probably not.
No.
But there's no excuse for the errors which he made tonight. The first one, he just took too many touches. If that happened in an under-12s team, you'd be telling your centre-half off. He knows. He doesn't really need telling. And then I don't know whether, he tried to make up for it, but, he made a mistake a couple of minutes before, then he was just off the pace.
I actually think the last time...
You can't afford to be off the pace at this level.
I think the last time, and I've had to do this whilst talking to you, so I'm hoping this is accurate, but I think the last time he started a game for Manchester City was Tottenham at home in the league on the 20th of April.